Out Chicago following days of unseasonably warm weather, 68 for a high temp today. Forecasters say temps will drop into the upper 30s by the early evening, a chance of showers and maybe a thunderstorm overnight. Chicago police this morning are investigating a deadly two-vehicle crash on the west side. A Kia and a Volkswagen collided early this morning near Lake Street and Central Park Avenue. The impact caused both vehicles to hit concrete support pillars under the CTA tracks. A man in the Volkswagen pronounced dead at the scene. No one in custody following a shooting on Chicago's south side that killed a man and a woman. Police say the victims were found shot last night near 76th and Champlain. Both were pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Another community activist on the scene claims that woman was pregnant. An investigation is underway after two vehicles were struck by gunfire on I-57 near South Suburban Calumet Park. State police say someone in a Chevy opened fire at another vehicle near 127th after the damaged vehicle exited the expressway. A person in the Impala fired at a similar-looking vehicle driven by a woman on I-57. No one was hurt. Officials believe the second shooting was a case of mistaken identity. Chicago City Council moving forward with Mayor Emanuel's revised plan for spending $15 million in unclaimed property tax rebate money. Alderman approved his proposal yesterday after the mayor agreed not to use a portion of that funds to plant up to 1,000 trees in the city. Police say a teen girl turned on her cell phone and recorded a man saying "down the hill" before she and a friend were killed along a northern Indiana hiking trail last week. The FBI and Indiana State Police say the audio came from 14-year-old Liberty German's cell phone, and she may have also captured that man's image. African-American Chicago aldermen want changes in the city's police contract in an effort to end what they believe is racial misconduct in the department. City Council Black Caucus proposing 14 changes yesterday, including eliminating the requirement for a sworn affidavit by a person before a complaint can move forward. A judge has approved the use of cameras in Illinois courts for a retrial of a former Illinois prosecutor charged with first-degree murder in his first wife's death. The judge in that case approved the order in the case of Curtis Lovelace. Trial is scheduled to begin Monday in Sangamon County, where it was moved on a change of venue request. And for now, all you downtown street musicians, you can keep playing your tunes as the City Council in Chicago hits the pause button on plans to limit performances. Threats of lawsuits and the ACLU also making threats prompted Alderman Brendan Riley to hold off on a vote to keep the musicians turned all the way down on Michigan Avenue and State Street. It was a crazy night in college hoops last night. Billy Garrett made two free throws with just less than 0.2 of a second left, giving DePaul a big win over Georgetown, 67-65 last night. Illinois State finishes their regular season with an undefeated home record and a win over Southern Illinois, 50-46. Bradley won back-to-back games for the first time this season with a 77-68 win over Missouri State. Unranked Syracuse kept its postseason hopes alive, upsetting number 10 Duke. Keelan Martin had 22, fueling a stunning second-half rally, leading number 22 Butler past number 2 Villanova in Philadelphia, 74-66. And Loyola's Ramblers have won 18 games this year. They beat Drake 80-65. The news service of ADT, the security leader for over 140 years. Trust ADT to protect your home, family, and all you care about. When you have ADT security, it's more than a sign in your yard. It's a line in the sand. Visit ADT.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing, independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
5:08. Let's get an update on the roads. A happy Butler grad this morning. Our AM 560 Traffic Center brought to you by Alarm Detection Systems. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Twice in one season they beat
I know,
Villanova.
isn't that great?
How in the world? It's great. It is. Good morning, Mike. Well, due to that nasty wreck on Chicago's west side, Central Park Avenue remains closed at Lake Street for ongoing crash investigation. This involving a car and a support column for the L tracks there. So this is going to be closed probably for a little while longer, and Pulaski and Holman are potential alternates. The expressways and tollways, though, are pretty clear. Some of the overnight work is wrapping up. There is now access from the inbound Stevenson to northbound Lakeshore Drive. Some road work at the south end of the outbound Rhine in the two left lanes, starting at 87th. There are some delays on the Indiana Toll Road in both directions. Starting eastbound at Ripley, there are delays in both directions in Porter and LaPorte counties. Traffic is a service of Liberty Mutual. From weather to traffic and everything in between, you have enough things to worry about every day. Insurance shouldn't be one of them. You can leave worry behind, but Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here is meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler. A little rain late in the afternoon, high 50. Tonight, periods of rain and a thunderstorm, low 41. Clouds and breaks of sun with a shower or heavy thunderstorm in the area tomorrow, high 60. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
We're at, again, our warmest temperatures of the day right now. 50 at O'Hare, 53 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And I got to tell you, Amy, I miss Charles Equipment Energy Systems.
So do I.
Charles Power Energy Systems.
Charles Equipment Energy Systems.
Charles Equipment
Or that.
Energy Systems.
Who do you miss more? Rudy, Mike,
They're in
Chuck,
the power
Bob?
business, though.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, Mike's the chef. So, we're getting spoiled doing the business tour because we get homemade food. We get, nice wet bars.
Yeah.
At these manufacturing facilities that we visited. The color of a family atmosphere. And,
I miss my
I miss
family.
it.
No, when I was
I got a plain cup of black coffee. That's all I got here. We could bring Mike here, Mike from Charles, and he could sell generators out of here.
He could.
We can move
have
generators out of this
an
space.
alleged breakdown where we're going to need an emergency generator.
What would be so wrong about that?
Yeah, but I loved him too because you know what? Real families help family, and I was pulling out of Charles Equipment Energy Systems yesterday.
Are you telling me you're a made person?
Well, my brakes were squeaking. My engine was smoking. We lifted up the hood. We, checked out, lubed the chassis, got me going again.
Lubed the chassis. Okay. Now what happened to your car?
Yeah, it's in the shop.
Oh,
So I had an Uber here this morning, but I want to thank those guys and Rudy was great. Rudy could tell when I was driving. He said, your brake pads in your front and your rear are squeaking.
Basically, Rudy was trying to tell you to total the car. It's a piece of junk.
No, he wasn't saying that. But he does have a side hustle. Not just you have a side hustle. Rudy fixes cars on the side.
Okay.
His bosses know about it. It's great, but it's too far away.
Did
for me.
you properly duke Rudy for the help? I mean, the guy's trying to make a living over there.
I gave him the homemade bottle of wine. He's like, no, I don't need that.
Oh. Sorry about that, Rudy. Amy doesn't know the ways of the family.
But I did take an Uber here today, and it took me an hour to get here, which is ridiculous. So there's a thing that Uber drivers need to know how to do, and that's drive.
Yeah.
So when the light's green, you go.
An important part of the job.
You don't hold your phone and steer. That's why you have a handset up there to put the phone in. And then
why was it like a GPS? Why don't you just tell her where to go?
I did. And then I asked her, I said, can you please put your phone down? Please. And she said, what's wrong? And then she's looking around. What? Truck! We're going to hit a truck.
Uh-huh.
And then she's sitting there, and then she's shaking. And I said, do you drive ever? Do you know how to drive in the city? I'm probably going to get a bad rating now. But I gave her a 1. And they said, what was wrong? I said, driving. I don't care that her car's clean, but she needs to know how to drive.
That's a big thing. Remember.
And you passed this, by the way.
This is
I was jealous. I'm like, help me. Get me out of here.
This is a sanctuary county. I hope you didn't ask for her papers.
Oh.
Including her DL.
Oh, that's right.
Anything goes here in Cook County. So don't be getting into other people's business.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I honestly.
Next time you could have waved me down, I'd pull over, throw you in the back, and we'll go.
Oh, because of course we were in the left-hand lane going 55 miles an hour. And then I see Dan.
If you're in the left-hand lane going 55 miles an hour.
It's a safety issue. I'm like, we are going to get rear-ended or killed. So
you're lucky I didn't slow down so I could knock you off the road. You should have told her that. Because that's what I really want to do. But I'm too much of a man
Gentleman.
of peace to do such things.
You don't want to go to jail.
Right.
You don't want any charges on your record.
Oh, that's a herring tale. We're glad you made it to work because we've got a lot to talk about, including, oh boy, James O'Keefe is back. Project Veritas. You remember him from the expo he did on Creamy Bob.
Okay, gross.
And the other ne'er-do-wells of the left that were trying to figure out how to commit voter fraud. This was during the election. That's the latest installment we had from O'Keefe up until this.
And Creamy Bob lost his job because of it.
It's very sad. Thank goodness it's a two-income family with us providing the other income for Calamity Jane. She is the wife, Calamity Jane Schakowsky, of convicted felon Creamy Bob. And so they can still, get along, and that's the important thing. But James O'Keefe of Project Veritas releasing today hundreds of hours of video, he says, undercover video in newsrooms, including, he certainly intimated when he talked to Sean Hannity on his radio show yesterday, certainly intimated that CNN was among them.
In the next 48 hours, Project Veritas, like WikiLeaks, will be releasing hundreds of hours of tape from within the establishment media. Our next target is, in fact, the media. We are releasing...
How long have you been working on this? How long have you been working on this?
We've had people on the inside come to us, just like Julian Assange had people come to him. We've had sources come to us and give us this information, and we're going to be releasing it WikiLeaks style later this week.
So WikiLeaks style, so it's going to be a video dump.
Oh, my. You know what? All you have to do is go to the makeup room. You want to know how news is produced and what's on the newscast? Makeup room. Set up a little mic there.
Yeah.
And people argue about things and say, no, this story should lead. No, this story should lead. And
oh, come on. It's not that substantive. It's more like it's all the petty personality stuff in the makeup room.
Yeah, who's
I've been in a
read
makeup room in my lifetime.
Who's going to read what story?
You don't tell me about the makeup room. I know the makeup room. Yeah, the makeup room is all,
That outfit makes you look hideous. Take it off.
He looks, what happened to the weatherman? He looks like he's having a baby, and it's those kind of comments.
No, it's actually they fight about content and what's going to lead.
Well,
this is going to be,
could be interesting. Could be
hold on to your hats.
Quite interesting. We'll find out what Don Lemon really thinks of you. Perhaps. So that's supposed to be a WikiLeaks dumped this afternoon at some point.
Really?
Or if it happens earlier, if it happens during this show, we'll certainly pick it up.
Well, they had to go to one-party consent states. because you can't secretly. Well, not in Illinois. You can't secretly videotape or audio tape something.
Well, this is also, it seems to me, and what O'Keefe sort of indicated is people on the inside gave them tapes. It's very much like the release of the Access Hollywood audio with Trump and Billy Bush.
Yeah, that they saved for 11 years. 11 years. Come on.
But
I don't even have socks.
Somebody on the inside has it, and they dump it to somebody on the outside.
Uh-oh.
It's not It's not like O'Keefe had a team of undercover interns.
Oh, yeah.
It's he was getting this information from sources on the inside. That's what he seemed to indicate. So this should be fascinating. But I have to say, even though I'm eagerly anticipating the dump today, it's really unnecessary because we have Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe to tell us what they think about us on air. Well, who needs undercover when you got Mika? This was Mika and Joe. By the way, just even this 30-second clip, I want to put a little parental advisory on this. Even this 30-second clip will make you dumber for listening to it, just like watching Morning Joe makes you dumber. So I just want to warn you, if you can't afford to lose a couple IQ points, you don't want to listen to Mika Brzezinski, but here she is.
It's like, oh, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah.
Controlling what people think is Mika Brzezinski's job.
I don't know what she was thinking there.
Well, I take that to be a Freudian slip.
Okay.
Or did she misspeak? And should we be charitable to Mika Brzezinski with her lack of the English, her lack of ability to express herself properly in a way that she is not so charitable to, say, Donald Trump or others? Mika Brzezinski is here to tell you what to think.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, how was your town hall? But first, here's your forecast. Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, cooler, and a little rain this afternoon, a high of 50 degrees. Tonight, a thunderstorm. And then Friday, here we go. We're back into above average temperatures for this time of year. A high Friday of 60 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm in spots. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. How are the Uber drivers doing out there, Jim Telemonte?
Well, Amy, I wonder if your driver is in Chicago Heights after dropping you off. We just have a report of a pedestrian incident in a vehicle we're told ran over a pedestrian's foot. This is at Joe Orr Road in Holstead. The intersection is open, though. West side of Chicago, Central Park Avenue remains closed at Lake Street after a nasty overnight wreck. And on the inbound Kennedy in the express lane, be careful around Belmont. Just past Belmont, there are several vehicles on the shoulder. There's a large pothole there, and several vehicles have flat tires. The locals appear to be fine, but the express lane's not so much. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com. Premium content that complements what we do on this show can be found there. This week, you'll want to check out our Against the Current long-form interview with Jim Uriot, who's a CNBC analyst, also a Chicago resident and Chicagoland resident. Great story, great analysis, but a great story about the restaurant he owns in Palatine, too, and the regulatory state. You'll want to check that out, as well as my 60-second commentaries this week on leftist xenophobia. Our podcast of Illinois Rising, that's the program that focuses on Illinois politics and policy. 2-minute warnings, dollars and cents, follow the logic man on the street interviews. It's all at upstream-ideas.com. Sign up today.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool?
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
Are you taking Viagra for ED? Now you can get sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, in generic 20 milligrams for $2 per tablet. That's a savings of $40 per dose. Marley Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy delivering generic sildenafil to your door. For information on sildenafil, go to marleygenerics.com or call us at 800-452-1760. That's 1-800-452-1760.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. We've all heard what the big banks have been doing. Time to call Townstone. I guarantee you can have confidence when calling me at 312-896-2110 or going to townstone.com that our only interest is getting you the best refinancing deal available and to make sure your home purchase closes on time and without headaches. Great news, we have 2 new home purchasing programs. We have a 1% down payment program available and a census tract program where we can give the buyer the lesser of $20,850 or 5% of their loan amount towards certain closing costs and down payment assistance. So if you're purchasing a home with a $300,000 loan amount, you can obtain up to $15,000 in credits towards your down payment and certain closing costs. Please give me a call now at 312-896-2110. Both programs have certain limitations and restrictions, so we need to make sure you qualify and the property meets the guidelines. Remember, nobody values your home purchase business more than Townstone. That's 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com. Townstone Financial is in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and MLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and so question about these GOP town halls. Do they resemble the Tea Party revolt of 2009 after the passage of Obamacare in advance of the 2010 election? Do you have concerns that there is a resistance that is using the playbook of the Tea Party and presents a threat to Republican control of Congress in the 2018 election? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. Before we do that, though, I want to get to Ed in Oak Brook, who has a comment, I think, on Mika Brzezinski's comment. Ed, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan, sometimes when I think I'm tough, I put on MSNBC and I see how long I can last. And usually I can't even go a minute. But I didn't catch that. But when she said undermine the media, what does that mean, undermine the media? Like they think that there's some holier than like some divine outlet for news or something. What does undermine the media mean?
Means
and
criticize
then your
them.
second point, if you're bringing up about these town hall meetings, I believe that the Tea Party people were actually local people in the community. They were happily upset. But I think what they're seeing now is, I really believe it is professionals or paid rabble-rousers to attend these things just because chaos. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed.
Have a nice day. No, then that's the thing. That's the point of contention because Sean Spicer came out yesterday when John Carl from ABC News asked him about these liberal activists, and he said that this is manufactured.
Is he suggesting this is manufactured anger, that this is not real anger and real concern?
Yeah, thanks. I think there's a hybrid there. I think some people are clearly upset, but there is a bit of professional protester manufactured base in there. But there are people that are upset. But I also think that when you look at some of these districts and some of these things, it is not a representation of a member's district or an incident. It is a loud group, small group of people disrupting something in many cases for media attention. No offense. It's just, I think that necessarily, just because they're loud doesn't necessarily mean that there are many. And I think in a lot of cases that's what you're seeing.
So do you think they're paid protesters at these town halls?
Well, he didn't say that.
No.
He said there's a hybrid.
Hybrid.
And I think he's right. Of course. Now, here's the thing about this. Let's try and kind of not make this so binary. There were organized Tea Party groups that sprung up that still exist today, Tea Party Patriots and so forth. They're the organizations that were created, people coming together. Nothing wrong with that. The Koch brothers funded some grassroots activism. Soros funds some grassroots activism. Nothing wrong with that. So the larger point that Spicer makes, I think, is the important one, which is your Jason Chaffetz, for example. Jason Chaffetz gets shouted down at his own town hall in Utah. There could be 500 people in a room, and they could all be indigenous residents of Chaffetz's district They could all be genuinely upset of Trump's election and Trump's policy agenda. And 500 very upset people looks like, oh, my gosh, Jason Chaffetz is under siege. Jason Chaffetz will go on to win re-election next year, 80-20. Right. So it's never going to be unanimous. Now, I'm not dismissing that there is real anger and real activism on the left to try and undermine members of Congress who are Republicans who have much more competitive districts, and that shouldn't be dismissed. We don't want to get blindsided in 2018 the way the Democrats were blindsided by Obamacare in 2010. So I'm not dismissing it, but it, of course it's a hybrid, and so there's some proportionality that has to be brought to this, and also too you hear some of the comments, people screaming about veterans not getting the health care they deserve. I know. That's what we've been saying for the past 8 years.
But last night, all right, so Tom Cotton took it last night a little bit on the chin from one of his constituents.
My husband with dementia, Alzheimer's, and plus multiple other things. And you want to stand there with him at home, expect us to be calm, cool, and collective. Wow, what kind of insurance do you have?
You know who she sounds like? Ashley Judd. She sounds a little bit like Ashley Judd.
Well, I don't know.
But I mean, all these people are angry about Obamacare. They're worried about their health care. And then they're always, attack Trump, dump Trump.
Well, I don't know what that person's and her husband's health insurance situation is. But I mean, you have people at these town halls, I've seen the clips, that are well past 65 talking about losing Obamacare. They're not on Obamacare. They're on Medicare or Medicaid.
Well, a bunch of white hairs chased Joni Ernst out in Iowa. Did you see that? They were, literally, they had signs and they chased her to the parking lot and she had to get security to get into her car.
Well, there is, so on the organized activism, if you will, the Town Hall Project, this is a kind of one-stop shop of information for town hall protests across the country, is connected to a former Hillary Clinton staffer and affiliated with groups like MoveOn.org, which is funded by George Soros. The former Clinton staffer's name is Jimmy Dahman. He was a field organizer for Clinton in Iowa. He founded the Town Hall Project. He claimed on CNN the town hall events are all organic and happening at the grassroots level. But again, MoveOn.org, ResistanceRecess.com are organizations, the latter that has sprung up recently to encourage, support, augment the activism. So I think Spicer's comment was, properly descriptive of what's actually happening in these districts at these town halls. Rich in Freeport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, so this is a left version of the Tea Party. So they get to go through the whole process now of listening to the Democrats saying, well, if you get us this and you get us this, and then we got to have the White House, and where does it end? The Tea Party they organized, they had meetings, they got people together, they tried to make a difference. Yeah. Well, what's the left doing? Are they just going to holler and make signs and T-shirts and so we now we're the deplorable scumbags. So what's next?
Thanks for the call, Rich.
Well, they don't know what's next, and they're looking for their new leader. I mean, they've got to deepen their bench and get younger members on their bench.
Bob in Plainfield.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
First, I'd like to start off with, I love your app. I'm able to call right from from my phone because of the app.
Nice. Unsolicited testimonial. Thank you.
Okay, my testimonials, I've been a police officer for 23 years. I've stopped some of these protesters along I-90 because they all gather up at different gas stations, and I've spoken to them, and they've come right out and said, yeah, we're getting paid to go from town to town to protest.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know that's a part of it. Tweet from Holly from Hudson. Important to remember Wisconsin protesters. Certainly the siege on Madison. Lots of vigor, but Walker wins recall.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, you might not sleep so well. But now, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs and it's completely hands-free. For a limited time, you can try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-400-0542.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean destroys CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs, and it eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto! Your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer, only available by calling 1-800-400-0542. That's 1-800-400-0542.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, we're going to rock you like a hurricane. Hey, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Dan.
Sanctuary cities, what happened when the city of Denver, Sanctuary City, released one illegal immigrant at 5:38.
And later, one city council decides to impeach Donald Trump. It's amazing audio. It's wonderful audio. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
52 degrees outside. We have clear skies, but rain on the way and cooler temperatures. Those who work for state government in the state of Illinois will know in a few hours if a strike is likely. Illinois' largest public employee union, AFSCME, is set to unveil results of what they call a strike authorization vote around 10:30. The union took that vote earlier this month. They've been trying to negotiate with Governor Bruce Rauner for over a year now on a contract. The governor's office says they have been generous, but now have the right by law to impose a new deal. Paris teens have blockaded 16 high schools with burning garbage cans and makeshift barricades to protest the alleged rape of a young black man with a police baton and other police abuses they say take place in Paris. Transgender rights advocates are promising a fight after the Trump administration rolled back some public school bathroom requirements for transgender students. White House pushing back plans to release a revised executive order temporarily restricting refugees and travel from certain Middle Eastern countries. The new order set to be unveiled next week. Two high-ranking members of the Trump administration will be meeting today with top Mexican officials. However, some in Mexico have made it clear they are unhappy with the Trump immigration crackdown. Presidential spokesman Sean Spicer says some professional protesters are infiltrating town hall meetings.
Representation of a member's district or an incident. It is a loud group, small group of people disrupting something in many cases for media attention.
Vice President Mike Pence yesterday on the move in St. Louis, condemning anti-Semitic acts at a Missouri Jewish cemetery.
There's no place in America for hatred or acts of prejudice or violence or anti-Semitism.
The vice president visiting that cemetery where nearly 200 headstones were toppled. Somewhere out there this morning, probably within the sound of our voices, there is a Powerball ticket worth $435 million. Winning Powerball numbers drawn Wednesday night had one winning ticket sold in Indiana. Temperatures dropping here in the Chicago area following days of unseasonably warm weather, and some thunderstorms are on the way. Chicago police investigating a deadly two-vehicle crash on the west side. We'll hear Jim Telemonte on this crash in a little bit, but it's happening near Lake Street and Central Park Avenue. Chicago sports. College hoops last night. DePaul beat Georgetown. Illinois State over Southern Illinois. Bradley winning back-to-back games with a victory over Missouri State. Loyola a winner over Drake, while the Blackhawks clash later on tonight with the Coyotes. The news service of ADT, the security leader for over 140 years. Trust ADT to protect your home, family, all you care about. When you have ADT security, it's more than a sign in your yard. It's a line in the sand. Visit ADT.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks some tough news to protesters.
Okay, good. Go march around. Carry a sandwich board and yell that he's not my president. The ultimate truth is he is. You want to stand around and think you're going to make a difference? Go ahead. I believe with all of my heart, you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to move the needle 1 inch.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
If you save $500,000 in an IRA or 401k, you know it's not really $500,000, right? Because you still have to pay taxes on that money. But here's something that will shock you. Some people will pay through the nose in taxes when they withdraw money from their retirement accounts, while a smart and savvy few will legally pay far less. Could you potentially save thousands of dollars in taxes on your IRA or 401k and keep this money for yourself? Yes, you could. Learn how in a free report called 6 Ways to Tax-Free Income in Retirement from me, Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour. The free report could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Call 630-873-6326. It's your choice. Pay the IRS or keep this money for yourself. Call 630-873-6326 or visit us on alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
538, a check of the roads. We do that in our alarm detection systems traffic center with Jim.
Like on the inbound Kennedy, the express lanes past Belmont, there's a large pothole. Several vehicles have flat tires on the side, so when I want to take the locals, they're delay-free at the moment, or if you do take the express, be very careful around Belmont. About Eisenhower Heavy, Displays Avenue to Harlem, just a 1-minute delay. The Stevenson has scattered delays starting at Central, 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 17 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the Murray Bishop, 420. On the west side, there is still a closure of Central Park Avenue in both directions between Lake Street and Franklin for investigation of that nasty early morning wreck there. Traffic is a service of Hum by Verizon. Is your check engine light on? Hum by Verizon can tell you why. You can fix small problems before they become big ones. Find out how to make your car smarter, safer, and more connected with Hum by Verizon. Visit hum.com today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, we will have breezy and cooler conditions today. A little rain this afternoon, high near 50. There could be a thunderstorm overnight, low 41. And tomorrow, variable clouds, a shower or heavy thunderstorm, high near 60. 50 at O'Hare, 52 along the lakefront. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Just talking about these town halls and the resistance, as they're terming themselves. Anthony Ciani. Anthony Ciani is a regular listener to the show. You know Anthony.
I got to turn on my mic.
Yeah,
Anthony.
Exactly.
Cincinnati.
Insults all Italians, too, because anytime you hear an Italian name.
I love Italian.
No, I know. So Ciani.
Ciani.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, boy.
You made me do it.
You're going to be kicked out of the family, the Charles Equipment Energy Systems family, if you keep with that parodying.
Okay, I'll stop.
So here's the thing. Anthony Ciani is this is how our audience is super smart. He's a physics professor at U of I.
Oh, there he goes, one-upping us
He's
again.
a big egghead. And so because he's smart, he was able to get a piece published in the American Thinker. And so we've got Tony on the south side that has coined the phrase tangerine Jesus to describe Trump. We got Mike on the north side who started the LGBT party, the love, guns, bacon. And Trump. That's from our listeners. Also, Mike on the north side is credited with terming Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren angry old or grumpy old menopause, which I like. And then now we've got Anthony Ciani, who has coined a name and an acronym for the resistance. First came the Tea Party.
Right.
You know, remember what T stood for. Taxed enough already.
Yep.
Right. Now he has coined the Terror Party. Tantrum at every action of Republicans. Terror Party. Pretty good. T-E-A-R. The Terror Party. Just add the R. And he references, I guess he's a member of the Palatine Township Republican Organization here as well. And he talks about protesters that gathered outside a Palatine Township Republican Organization meeting that Roskin was invited to speak at. And it was kind of one of these orchestrated protests with media assistance to create optical illusions about the size of the protest and so forth. But you check out the Terror Party op-ed that Anthony Ciani, our friend from the physics department.
Were you here when we had TCON?
Pendant in the American Thinker.
We had a big rally TCON, and Sharon Wright, God bless her, from Channel 5. I went out there because I love her, loved working with her. She was doing a story, and I was shooting the photographer, Rich, and there were 4 protesters, and I said, Sharon, you cannot do a story. This is not a story. There are 4 people here, and with you and the photographer, there are just 6 people here. Sure enough, she did the story.
Right.
Blew it out of the water. Protesters, and did the close-up shot in the underground, the canted camera angle to make it look huge.
Unrest at TCON, exclusive at 5.
Police called in.
Yeah, right.
And because there's always a police officer on there.
Well,
police called in.
There's one other thing.
Anyway.
One other thing with respect to Ciani.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? Stay in your lane. Go study the laws of thermodynamics. You're getting into the commentary space. That's our job.
Oh.
We don't need to be displaced from some physics geek from U of I. No, but it's a really good piece. Check it out at American Thinker. Also, you got to start following Pat Sajak on Twitter.
Really?
He's
Farragut High School grad.
That's right.
You want his pictures on the wall.
You got him and Kevin Garnett.
Mm-hmm. And Rodney Fields.
Ronnie Fields.
Or Rodney Fields.
Yeah, that was potential not realized, unfortunately. But
Right.
Pat Sajak, he's coming up with the best tweets in response to the town halls and the Terror Party, as Ciani termed it. Pat Sajak, I hate the guy who moved in next to me. I'm not even going to acknowledge him. # not my resident. Unhappy about the results of last week's People's Choice Awards, thinking of breaking Starbucks windows and trashing limos.
That's awesome.
I'm
going to follow him right now.
He actually asked some common sense but good questions. Can you imagine the toll on body and soul to wake up filled with rage and anger every day for 8 years? You should ask your friend Sue about that. What is the toll? Changing the world.
Say her name.
Changing the world, one screamed obscenity at a time. Yeah, good stuff. Follow Pat Sajak at Pat Sajak. It's the spinning wheel on Twitter there. All right, I want to get to Sanctuary City matters. There's a couple of them, Amy. One, Arizona. You know, there's been a change in leadership in Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
I know. It still breaks my heart. I haven't gotten over that election yet.
Well, Joe Arpaio displaced by Paul Penzone.
Penzone.
Here we go.
Hey, why are you busting my onions over here?
Okay, all right. There it is.
Well, poor Joe Arpaio.
What?
He's
no Arpaio?
Arpaio!
Okay, there's better. An average of 400 criminal illegal immigrants are being released every day. Released every 10 days by the newly elected sheriff of Maricopa County, who displaced Joe Arpaio. This, according to Judicial Watch, which had served as the shadow attorney general for the past 8 years prior to Jeff Sessions' elevation. Under longtime partnership between the county and the feds, the Phoenix Field Office of ICE was notified when aliens were unlawfully present in Arizona with additional Arizona charges and were released from Maricopa County Jail. So local would inform ICE. That ended with Penzone.
who refers to illegal immigrants as guests. Yeah. So during a recent 10-day period, more than 400 criminal illegal immigrants were released from Maricopa County Jail, according to federal law enforcement officials involved in the process in Phoenix. Where does that lead? Well, it leads to perhaps the situation in Denver, a sanctuary city. Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, if being a sanctuary city means that we value taking care of one another and welcoming refugees and immigrants, then I welcome the title. If being a sanctuary city means families and young dreamers live with hope and not fear, then Washington can label us whatever they want. That's Denver Mayor Michael Hancock. Ever Valles, 19, murdered Timothy Cruz, 32, on February 7th after robbing him at a train station, police say. He had been released by the Denver Sheriff's Department just 6 weeks before after posting $5,000 bond on charges of theft. Denver released Valles even though ICE agents asked the city to hold him. In fact, ICE had flagged Valles as an immigration priority given his ties to gang activity in the city and asked to be told before his release so they could arrest him themselves. Now he's charged with first-degree robbery and murder, along with a 19-year-old U.S. citizen. The Denver Sheriff's Department, chastened by the experience? Nope. Denver has never and will never condone dangerous or violent individuals being on our streets, immigrants or not. However, detaining anyone without a criminal warrant is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. That is a misstatement of the facts of this case that is completely irrelevant. The Denver Sheriff's Department, along with the Denver mayor, should be ashamed of themselves. But these are the tortured arguments you have to make when you defend the indefensible. So that's where it leads. So hat tip to Denver, maintaining their politically correct sanctuary city status and ignoring the requests of ICE, more important than protecting its residents.
And here in the city of Chicago, CPS was handed out an email within the last few days reminding CPS schools that they cannot allow ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement agents, into the school without a warrant. So, and besides that, schools are also asking parents to update emergency contacts for children. So if a parent is detained by ICE, potentially leaving a child stranded at school, the school's office can exhaust the child's emergency contact list. They don't want any kid left at school if their parents is detained by ICE. And if an ICE agent does show up, they're supposed to stand outside, and the school is supposed to contact their law department.
This is the leftist xenophobia of which I speak, the irrational fear against distinguishing between predators and peaceful. Denmark. ISIS fighters accidentally receiving welfare benefits. The Danish government has inadvertently been paying benefits to citizens fighting for the Islamic State. In Syria, in Iraq, Danish officials said Tuesday, officials said that since last year, municipal and state authorities have been trying to collect about $95,000 in welfare benefits that had been wrongly paid to 29 Danish citizens who had gone to Syria to fight for ISIS. So we also had the circumstance we discussed yesterday of the suicide bomber in Mosul, a former Gitmo detainee, really receiving £1 million from the British government after being released from Gitmo as some sort of payoff for his troubles. Yeah. And then, of course, he returns to jihad and puts our soldiers and our allies and peaceful pluralists in Iraq, including Muslims, in jeopardy while he returns to terrorist activity. So, this is where it goes. This is where lawlessness goes, whether it's in Denver or Denmark.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560, The Answer.
Hey everyone, Dave from Draft Tech here with a big call out to our general and MEP contractor friends out there. Are you guys completely satisfied with your BIM situation? Maybe you don't think you're getting as much bang for your buck as you'd hoped for. Perhaps you're not getting the service you expected. Maybe you find the level of communication between you and them lacking. If you're experiencing any of those issues, we want you to take a good look at Draft Tech. We've got project coordination savvy and we'll be a strong advocate for you in the BIM meetings. We've got the availability to meet you at the job site when you need us, And we've got the professional courtesy you expect to keep you in the loop every step of the way. And we're not just a BIM service. We can help you out with any kind of shop drawings, submittal drawings, or any other design or drafting you might need. So check us out at draftingresults.com. That's DraftTech at draftingresults.com. DraftTech, cutting-edge technology, old-school service.
Oh, and Dan, guess how many students stayed home for a day without immigrants? How many? They didn't call in sick. They called in, and it's an excused absence.
At Blaine, you mean?
No, at CPS total.
Oh, how many students did? All of them.
50,000 students didn't go to school that day. Wow.
It's about a seventh of the student population.
Yeah. All right, your company's IT partner should be more than just a place you call when you're having computer problems. Today, IT is beyond just hardware and software. IT is about a relationship between technology and the people who work with it. And that's where Turnkey IT is different. They're an IT company and a people company. They help people use IT better. You know, people need help from computers and servers to cloud-based systems, cybersecurity, advanced phone systems. People also need help finding out what's out there and how to implement exactly what they need, all with the support of an experienced team that resolves issues quickly. You know, people remember the good experiences they receive when working with Turnkey IT. Our friends over there at Charles Equipment Energy Solutions, they have Turnkey IT. Your business should do the same. See what other AM 560 listeners already know about Turnkey IT. Local, reputable, compassionate, experienced. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey IT just does IT better. Visit turnkey.pro. Right now, that's turnkey.pro.
Daily stress is a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stressed individuals attract diseases, just like blood in the water attracts sharks. Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the show host of Health Quest Radio, the longest-running health news and science show in Chicago. And for over 33 years, we share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to minimize the need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. Today, it's our dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. You know, most people flunk on their first go-around signaling adrenal gland distress. And then following our stress-busting strategies, most individuals pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call and purchase your first dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test, and we'll hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. 800-794-1855. And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11.
Hi, I'm Todd Pals, owner of Homewood Bat Company, a top-quality baseball bat made right here in the Chicagoland area. Homewood Bat Company is all about using the best in materials and craftsmanship to create a truly remarkable baseball bat. I've been a client of Precision Payroll for a number of years, and when I started the Homewood Bat Company, I wanted them on my team. From working with me when I had 1,200 employees at another company, and now with less than 50, their service has been exceptional, and their value is unrivaled. You want more runs in the game? Give Homewood Bat Company a look. You need a home run for your business? Precision Payroll should be the next call you make.
Thank you, Todd. It is so cool to see you make Americana. Precision Payroll would like to go to bat for you. Call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. My Parts Garage is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory, so your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Plus, the customer service is seriously awesome. So the last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find auto parts. With the average driver in Chicago commuting at least 24 miles per day, people are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you, the mechanic. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed.
Hey, there's a lot of talk right now about school choice, and if you've always felt like you didn't really have a choice to send your kids to a private school because of the money, then listen up. We want to tell you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find a local private school near you. They're offering vouchers for a full year of tuition At half the price, there's no catch. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school. There are schools located all over Chicago, LaSalle, Peru, Kankakee, Aurora, just to name a few. So make private schools a real option this year for you and your family. But don't wait. These vouchers sell out. Visit halfpriceschools.com.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Kennedy Expressway, traffic is moving without delay. In the express lanes, a little bit earlier, there were a few vehicles on the side near Belmont after they had flat tires. There's apparently a pothole there, so careful on the inbound Kennedy past Belmont in the Express. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, slow Manheim to Harlem, already 35 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 29. Stevenson is 41 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. The Ryan, 21 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford, 23 minutes, 80-94 to the merge. The Indiana Toll Road has significant delays, especially westbound from the Porter-LaPorte County line to State Road 49 and from the Portage Toll Plaza to Portage exit. Eastbound delays start around Ripley. Traffic is a service of Connect Better. When you connect better, everything comes together. Join the more than 3 million people who use GoToMeeting every month to connect with their team. Try it free. GoToMeeting.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
At 5:58, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. And time, check the weather. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Patchy fog for the morning, otherwise a mostly cloudy and breezy day today. Little rain late in the afternoon, high 50. Periods of rain and a thunderstorm tonight. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour in the evening. A low tonight of 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
50 at O'Hare, 52 along the lakefront. The news service of Accountemps. When you could use help closing your books and need additional staff, it's time to call Accountemps. They can provide you with bookkeepers and other accounting and finance pros on a temporary or project basis and fast. Call today. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. At 5:59, here are the stories we're following on AM 560, The Answer. Those who work for state government in Illinois will know in a few hours if a strike is likely. AFSCME is set to unveil results of a strike authorization vote. Somewhere out there this morning is a Powerball ticket in Indiana worth $435 million. Chicago police investigating a deadly two-vehicle crash on the west side this morning near Lake Street and Central Park Avenue. Chicago City Council is moving forward with Mayor Emanuel's revised plan for spending $15 million in unclaimed property tax rebate money. Aldermen approved the mayoral proposal yesterday after the mayor agreed not to use a portion of that funds to plant 1,000 trees around the city. Blackhawks will clash with the Coyotes later tonight, while the Cubs and White Sox will open exhibition play on Saturday. We'll have more Dan and Amy after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Transgender rights advocates are promising a fight. Some rallying outside the White House last night after President Trump said bathroom choice in public schools should be up to the states. Fox Radio's John Decker, live at the White House.
While conservatives are praising the Trump administration's rollback of public school bathroom requirements for transgender students, transgender rights advocates are vowing to win the fight in court. The Justice and Education Departments jointly announced that public schools no longer need to abide by a directive from the Obama administration instructing them to allow transgender students to use bathrooms and locker rooms of their chosen gender. The Supreme Court could now decide not to hear a case on the issue and direct lower courts to settle the matter instead. Lisa?
John, more protests at the latest town hall-style meetings with Republican members of Congress around the country.
I think there's a hybrid there. I think some people are clearly upset, but there is a bit of professional protester manufactured base in there.
White House spokesman Sean Spicer. Ahead of President Trump's 30-day deadline for a new plan to defeat ISIS. The Iraqi-led fight to retake the city of Mosul continues, and U.S. commanders now say U.S. forces are closer to the front lines and in combat at times, though the mission is still advise and assist for now. A mission accomplished in space.
Capture confirmed.
The space station arm grabbing a SpaceX capsule full of supplies, a Russian cargo ship due to arrive tomorrow. 7 Earth-like planets found close by cosmic standards, some 230 trillion miles away.
The discovery gives us a hint that finding a second Earth
It's not just a matter of if, but when.
NASA's Dr. Thomas Zarbuchen says the cluster of planets found with the Spitzer Space Telescope circles a dwarf star in the constellation Aquarius. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
Investments in securities involves the risk of loss. The following is a far too common tale of investing in annuities. A successful couple invested a large portion of their savings in annuities, thinking they were a safe way to guarantee a dependable income stream no matter what the market did. But it didn't take long for them to regret their decision. They were locked into low returns, faced potential tax consequences, and that they couldn't get out of their annuities without paying huge penalties. They were stuck, and so was their money. Suddenly, their retirement hopes and dreams were in danger. But it didn't have to happen to them, and it doesn't have to happen to you. You can avoid the annuity trap. Here's one way. Get the free report, Annuity Insights, your guide to better understanding annuities, by calling 1-800-396-3336. Written by Forbes columnist and money manager Ken Fisher's firm. This powerful report could help save you from major financial heartache, and it's offered today for free. If you have an annuity or are considering one, claim your free annuities guide today. Hurry, free copies are limited. Call now, 1-800-396-3336. 1-800-396-3336.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So today will be an interesting day for the D.C. Press Corps. We'll see what surreptitious video guerrilla journalist James O'Keefe from Project Veritas was able to obtain from inside sources in network newsrooms. James O'Keefe going on Sean Hannity's radio program yesterday to preview his WikiLeaks-style dump of said video today.
In the next 48 hours, Project Veritas, like WikiLeaks, will be releasing hundreds of hours of tape from within the establishment media. Our next target is, in fact, the media. We are releasing...
How long have you been working on this? How long have you been working on this?
We've had people on the inside come to us, just like Julian Assange has people come to him. We've had sources come to us and give us this information, and we're going to be releasing it WikiLeaks style later this week.
All right.
Ooh, I can't wait.
You'll learn what the D.C. Press Corps really thinks of you, as if you haven't figured that out yet from some of the comments made, including by Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe yesterday, where Donald Trump isn't supposed to undermine the media and tell you what to think. She is.
It's like, oh, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
That's Mika's job. Okay.
That's our job, not the president's job. We'll control what you think.
For more on this, and I don't know if he'll put a Vulcan mind meld on us, but we're pleased to be joined by former Washington bureau chief at CNN and the author of the new book, Ask More, The Power of Questions to Open Doors, Uncover Solutions, and Spark Change. Emmy Award-winning journalist Frank Cesno with a foreword in that book by Wolf Blitzer. Frank Cesno, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be with you.
So what do you think about guerrilla journalism, like WikiLeaks, like James O'Keefe, although the two are a little bit different. I don't think O'Keefe is doing any hacking or anything of that sort. And any concern you have about the video content that is scheduled for release later today?
Well, we'll see what it is, and we'll see how he got it, and we'll see what his agenda is. We'll see who he pursues and how. I mean, I have been an advocate for a very long time with all news organizations to open themselves up. I think that the public has a right to know and would actually appreciate knowing how news organizations deliberate, make their decisions, have their debates. And, if cops can have cameras on their, foreheads every time they make an arrest, I'm not saying that there should be a camera in every newsroom, but it's really... most news organizations should have responsible conversations about what they're covering, how they're covering it, what the trade-offs are. So we'll see what he's got. I think the one thing that I would simply say to those who are just automatic critics of the media, and I just want to say it again, is the word media is plural, very plural.
Yes.
Lots of places.
Yeah.
So, Frank, when you worked over at CNN, what was it like? Did you feel that they were open-minded and were willing to listen to both sides?
Well, of course, because I was there, what choice did they have?
Right, yes.
No, but did you have to push the issue every day? I mean...
Listen.
Yeah.
Here's what we had rip-roaring debates about things. We disagreed about how stories should be covered. When I was bureau chief, there were many times when I said to reporters, you're not ready to go on the air with that yet. Who is your source? You remember the old show Get Smart?
Yeah.
Sure.
Remember Maxwell Smart? Well, I had a thing when I was bureau chief called the Cone of Silence. And if a reporter came to me with a story that they were going to report with an anonymous source, if I felt that was very sensitive information, we would step into my Cone of Silence, and they would have to tell me who their source was. We had a whole series of what I thought were reasonable checks and balances so that we could monitor what we went on the air with. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. Was there a bias? Yes, there was at times. Did we have to fight against that? Yeah, it's one of the reasons I wrote the book. It's like you got to ask yourself questions like, what do I know? Why do I know it? Where is it coming from? How can I be so sure?
But
I love the Cone of Silence.
Did you also have a shoe phone when you were at CNN?
When the cell phones came along, they were about the size of shoes.
Yeah, right. That's very true. But what you're highlighting, though, is one of the issues, right? Personnel is policy. And when you have the D.C. press corps, populated to the distribution of about 90-10 left to right, that necessarily is going to influence the stories you choose in addition to the angles that in which they're covered, by which they're covered.
Probably, but it doesn't have to. I mean, there are ways of training people, just like you have a judge at a trial who may have an opinion about how something happens, but they're going to enforce the rules equally, you hope, to both sides. You have a referee who may secretly have a favorite team, but that referee, if they're any good, is going to be fair in how they apply the rules. With the right training, and it's what we try to do and what people should be doing in media, is you say, fine, I see this side of the story from this side. Like, okay, we can do the immigration story 100 times from the families that are going to get ripped away from, the place they came to without documentation. But let's also look at this other side of it, this community that has been, thrown into crisis because they've been flooded with people who didn't come here with documentation. That's what a good journalist does.
Yeah.
That's what good editors are supposed to do.
I recently did a long interview with Bernie Judge, who was an institution in Chicago for 50 years, all worked at all the newspapers, and we were just talking about what media has become. And he points to, actually, no offense, but in part the rise of the 24-hour cable news network and all the time that you have to fill. Yeah. And so it becomes journalists are part of the story and interject themselves into the story and, frankly, in some cases become the story because you have a panel discussion to talk about a particular issue, and then you have a panel to react to that panel, and then you have two panels removed to react to the panel that reacted to the original story, and you lose some sense of the questions, the diagnostic questions that you highlighted at the start of our conversation, which are the same ones that he highlighted and said, I was never part of the story. And as an editor, I demanded the same sourcing that you're talking about and that my reporters, keep their nose out of their own story in a sense. They're not part of it.
I couldn't agree with you more. When I was bureau chief at CNN, I once sent a memo to my reporters, this is a while ago, that said, here's what I'm noticing when you guys are going live on the air. I'm hearing I think blah, 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 blah. I think blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right.
Please avoid the words I think. The public actually doesn't care what you think. You are there to observe, to note, to report. But your interpretation isn't what we're signing on for. Now, that has changed so much. It's partly cable, you're right, and there's a lot we could talk about cable, because cable, I think, has really driven this thing in a lot of different ways. But it's really also about the Internet. And as the Internet came along and people were getting their facts in real time, and now as alerts, news organizations, TV, newspapers, all of them became more and more, quote-unquote, interpretive. As they became more interpretive, they became more opinionated. As the audience fractured, they did stuff that was going to pull more clicks and eyeballs in circulation. And so it's been a real problem. In my book, as you point out, I write about different types of questions that we can all use in our lives to real success. Diagnostic questions, what's wrong here? Confrontational questions at the right time, I'm going to hold you accountable. Empathetic questions, let me understand you better. Mission questions, what are we doing together? The problem in the media is we're hovering almost exclusively on confrontational questioning. So we never get to these other things.
Yeah.
And no wonder people are angry and feel that nothing works.
But confrontational questions work, and that's what sells, and that's what everyone... we want to see conflict. We don't want to stop and see the car crash, but everyone slows down anyway. That's what I can compare it to.
Here's what I say to people when I talk to groups. Your kid comes home with a report card. Your kid comes home with 5 A's and 1 D. What do you ask about first?
The D.
Some of this is human nature, right? I mean, maybe you ask about the A's, but I would ask, what went wrong with his class? What happened here?
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me ask you a question about what concerns you more, if there are concerns in either categories. The so-called fake news that's being bandied about, or segmented news, siloed news, where in the digital age you can very easily just consume content that comes from the perspective you share, to the exclusion of having to deal with content that comes from a perspective you don't share.
I think fake news concerns me more, and the whole conversation about fake news, which is also mixed up and misconstrued. Fake news is not news you don't like. Fake news is not even unfair news, in my view, because that's bad reporting. That's lazy stuff. That somebody should get fired by another newspaper or whatever it is you're buying these days. Fake news, truly fabricated, made up, unaccountable junk from some trolls overseas meant to cause mischief and confuse people. That's really scary. And I saw a presentation just the other week where there's a technology that isn't very far away where you could go in and you could take Donald Trump's words or whoever's words and re-edit them and present a video that looks perfect. That's absolutely not what they ever said.
Wow. That's scary.
Now imagine that's like Photoshop on video steroids, right? How terrible would that be? And people won't know. So the notion of truly misinforming the public, that's what scares me the most.
So what do you think is the most egregious fake news that you've heard so far?
Well, I would say the most egregious high-profile fake news that I've heard so far is the birther movement around Barack Obama, which is deliberately designed to drive doubts and sow discord and religious difference and all of that kind of stuff, just because it was so prominent. That was just malicious.
I want to ask you a kind of a journalistic ethics question, because we had this discussion when it occurred. The BuzzFeed Trump dossier story.
Oh.
And then CNN's coverage of it. And Jake Tapper, who I like, I think he's a good journalist, but Jake Tapper tried to make the argument, look, we didn't report the dossier. We didn't post the dossier like BuzzFeed did, knowing that these allegations were uncorroborated. We just reported on the report. And to me, that's a bit of a distinction without a difference when it comes to the ethical decision to report on something that is completely unverified and was conceded to be unverified.
Well, except that it's an interesting thing, and you would have had, and I know they had a rip-roaring debate. I hope it was rip-roaring in the newsroom, because it would be something that you'd really want to pull apart. So let's say you learn that the national security folks, the head of the CIA and the FBI, have briefed both the president and the president-elect on a full big dossier on the Russians. And part of that dossier included a bunch of uncorroborated reports about the president-elect, about these activities that he, about a report that somebody did that's circulating that said bad things. Now, as a journalist, you're going to report that these guys got briefed, and you you now have been told something that's that they included in that briefing. I probably would have come down on this. This is basically where CNN came down on that, saying these guys felt so concerned about this thing that they told the president. They told the president-elect. The document was uncorroborated, but it dealt with personal behavior, and leave it at that. Now, there's a lot of room for us to debate that, but that's where I would have come down. What I would not have done was what BuzzFeed did, which was to take an uncorroborated document and just dump it out there and say, well, you have the right to know. I mean, that's where you apply editorial judgment. But this is also where news organizations need to explain to the public why they did it, how they did it, what the arguments were on both sides, so that people can at least know, whether they agree or disagree, that there was a conversation about it.
Well, and it's such a disgusting story, too.
How do you deal with this rise of anonymous source news, particularly when the veracity of the story gets challenged? So we had an example of this over the weekend with Reince Priebus on the Sunday talk show saying the New York Times story suggesting that a number of former Trump campaign aides had regular contacts with senior Russian intelligence officials. Priebus said, I speak with the intelligence community. I spoke with intelligence officers about this. They say the New York Times story was completely overblown and essentially untrue. So how do you deal with that kind of dynamic?
You have to do the most transparency you possibly can, bring the most transparency to the story and explain this to the public. Again, this is really difficult. I've done this when I was a White House correspondent. I had people calling me all the time. When I was a bureau chief, I had people calling me all the time saying, here's something you should know. You should work on this. We need to explain leaks to people. Leaks come from people inside government who are disgruntled, who are patriots, who feel that somebody's about to walk the plank and they want to tell people. They shoot trial balloons down through leaks, and they loft trial balloons through leaks. I've had secretary, cabinet level people leak stuff because they don't want to have their name associated with it. Right. And we have this dance, and good reporters have this dance where you'll push back and argue every time, saying, no, you can't go on background. I need to use your name. I need to use your name, or I won't use the story. But if somebody says no, it's the only way you can do it. You got to figure out whether the public needs to know and all that kind of stuff. So the way I say it is, you got to. I think it was the Washington Post the other day. Had a story. Was it the Washington Post or New York Times? You guys might remember, where they cited 9 separate sources, all of whom were anonymous.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's a very good thing. So you're saying to people, we have 9 sources that come from different places, but this is how, this is just how, it's like an anonymous tip that the cops get. This happens all the time. And so I think we have to write the stories differently. I think we have to rate those sources when they're anonymous in some fashion. It would be interesting if you could create some kind of guide for people as to what the agendas were. Are these political opponents that are leaking this? Are these people inside the office that are leaking this? Are they leaking this because they're concerned for their job security? I mean, you can give little cues to people, but anonymous sources are in many ways the mother's milk of a lot of investigative journalism and political journalism, because people don't want their name out there because they fear retribution.
Very interesting discussion. He is Frank Cesno, CNN's former Washington bureau chief, currently the director of George Washington University's School of Media and Public Affairs. And frankly, after our conversation, I have a lot more hope for journalists, at least that you're training at George Washington U. The book is Ask More, The Power of Questions to Open Doors, Uncover Solutions, and Spark Change. Frank Cesno, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. And by the way, if you have a little time, check out, there's an interesting new poll that's out today by Quinnipiac that shows that in the public opinion war between the president and the media, strangely enough, the media has higher marks right now than the president, so go figure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Frank Cesno. Appreciate it.
See you. Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, mostly cloudy, breezy, a little cooler than we're used to. We're going to have some rain this afternoon, a high of 50 degrees. And then tonight, a thunderstorm, a low of 41. And tomorrow, variable clouds, shower, heavy thunderstorm in the area. But once again, it's going to be warm, a high of 60 degrees for your Friday. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, and here's the boss, Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. On Chicago's west side, we still have closures of the intersection of Lake Street and Central Park Avenue after a nasty early morning wreck. Everything shut down all around for investigation. The Edens is 20 minutes, like Hook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, 25 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. The Eisenhower is now 38 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 30. Stevenson, 43 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, clear outbound. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford, about a 5-minute delay approaching the merge. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Reagan slow way to the Eisenhower. The other Illinois tollways are good, but the Indiana Toll Road has significant roadwork delays in both directions in Porter County. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. Leslie, people have spring fever. Consumer confidence is up, and that means spending. We want folks to enjoy what they've worked so hard for, but don't forget...
Craig, are you trying to tell me something? I know. Retirement's right around the corner.
Listen, a new season is time for regrowth and building on what you already have. You don't need to do it alone if you have Wealth Management Group at your side.
Spring into action to make Wealth Management Group your go-to partner, and listen to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Michael Medved, and for well over a year, you've heard me talking about Relief Factor, the natural solution for people struggling with chronic pain like back, neck, shoulder, hip, knee, or general muscle aches and pains. Thousands of listeners have told us all about their amazing results in dramatically lowering or eliminating their pain. So I'm sending my personal friends and radio listeners to ReliefFactor.com to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's ReliefFactor.com.
Did you know that people born from 1945 to 1965 have the highest rates of hepatitis C, but most don't know they're infected? People can live for decades without symptoms, but over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage and even liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 1965, the CDC recommends that you get a blood test for hepatitis C. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Now that I've joined Audible, my time packing lunches has become more, well, peculiar, as I listen to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
The peculiar children came out of the audience and took the stage. Emma made fire, swallowed it, then blew it out again without burning herself.
I forgot the pepper jack.
Get Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children free when you start a 30-day trial at audible.com/actnow. Audible. Turn anytime into story time.
Hey everyone, Dave from Draft Tech here. The construction season is almost here and it could be big. Time for all the contractors out there to get their BIM help lined up. This year, we want you to take a good look at Draft Tech. To the MEP guys, we're experienced. We know your equipment and how to get it routed, installed, and supported. If you're new to BIM, we can take you through a project from start to finish. If you're already doing BIM, we can help get you through some tight deadlines. To the generals, consider using us for your coordination and your MEP subs. We'll get you to your sign-offs faster than you thought possible. Consider Draft Tech as your one-source solution. We've got Revit and AutoCAD. We can help you out with some affordable 3D scanning, and we're right here in Chicagoland. We can come to the job site and work with your people to head off any problems. Check us out at draftingresults.com. We're a good number to have in your phone. That's Draft Tech at draftingresults.com. Draft Tech. Cutting-edge technology, old-school service.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it was a great discussion with Frank Cesno
Yes.
on journalism. I really enjoyed that. I'm going to have to check out his book.
We hope our listeners liked it too.
Yeah,
as well.
Getting good feedback on Twitter, at least I see, and some text too. Here's one of the iron laws of public policy, the Proft iron law of public policy.
So this is
ready for it?
No Proft parenting tips here. Now this is Proft.
This is
public policy.
It's a new segment I think we should do called Predatory Government.
Okay,
And-
Proft on predatory government or Proft predatory government? PPG?
I'm not in charge of the predatory government, so it would be Proft on predatory government.
POPPG.
Predatory government. The iron rule of public policy, the Proft iron rule of public policy, is predatory government policies prevent the poor from obtaining more.
Prevent the poor from obtaining more.
You ready for it? You ready for me to give you an example of this?
Okay.
Tucson cosmetology student under investigation for giving free haircuts. Juan Carlos Montes de Oca has given dozens of free haircuts to the homeless at the Santa Rita Park over the past few months.
Yeah.
Out of the kindness of my heart, out of the memory of my mom, because she lost her hair. Montes de Oca thought he was doing a good deed for Tucson homeless by offering the haircuts. About 7 months was the longest one. Another lady was about 2 years without a basic trim.
Oh.
He, too, Montes de Oca, has been homeless in the past. When his Regency Beauty School closed its doors this past September, he felt compelled to offer services for free. Now he's being investigated by the Arizona State Board of Cosmetology because a complaint has been made against him for practicing without a license.
You talk about big government. Whew,
Because
he's just trying to help the homeless. By the way, that's that park where people bathe in the drinking fountain. Remember that story we hear? Wash themselves in the...
Oh, okay. Well, that's...
Yeah, but it's a well-known... I mean, there's always homeless people there. Always. And that's really sweet that he went there. And people go there all the time, bring people food and some suits that they don't want anymore and dresses in case they want to get back into the job market. But giving them haircuts that gives them a sense of self-respect, and that's wonderful. What a wonderful man to do that.
Well, and here's the thing. Licensure is one of the ways that government crowds out people trying to get in and work. Licensure is the way to protect, in part, incumbent workers at the expense and create a higher hurdle for entry at the expense of those who are well-intended and competent and want to put out a shingle and open a business. I'm not saying that there should be no licensure, but it's the mindless government policy in situations like this, predatory government policy for those that have the least that prevents them from obtaining more. Montana lawmakers considering allowing expanded sales of homemade food. This is a relatively conservative state. Montana Department of Health and Human Services opposes legislation that would allow people to sell food they make at home in their own kitchens, either directly to customers or for social events like weddings or potlucks. A Republican state legislator there has proposed a bill to expand allowing the sale of food from your home, saying we cook food in our kitchens every day for our family. We have neighbors over. It's being done. No one's getting sick because, of course,
the FDA wants to monitor
to justify the regulatory agency. You have to come in and regulate it. This is the same. This is on an order of we've talked about before. The little kids lemonade stand, that gets or a cupcake stand that gets attacked by the local or state Department of Health because they have to justify their phony baloney jobs. I'll tell you, I did an interview with Jim Urio, I mentioned earlier, from CNBC, on-air analyst from CNBC, really sharp, entertaining guy. It'll be on upstream-ideas.com by the end of the week. He also owns a restaurant in Palatine. He lives here. In addition to being a financial markets guy, he owns a restaurant in Palatine. He tells a story of regulators that used to come in and check his well water, make sure his well water's clean. Like he has an interest in not keeping it clean and making his customers sick. But okay, $75 for them to come in and check the well water. Well, for whatever reason, they didn't have the staffing to send inspectors out to his place anymore. So they asked him to bring a sample of his well water and to pay the $75. So, I mean, you could, stop and buy a bottled water. I mean, what kind of... The point is, his point is saying, I'm not changing anything I do. My water's just as clean as it ever was. The point is, this is just about the $75 I have to pay.
It's a money grab.
So stop pretending like you're interested in my well water and I'll just send in the $75. This is predatory government policy. Red light cameras, speed cameras, trying to ban street musicians on Michigan Avenue, like your good friend Alderman Brendan Riley and Tiny Dancer.
No, he's your good friend.
Yeah.
He's your BFF.
Like they were trying to do before the ACLU stepped in. Predatory government policy prevents the poor from obtaining more. Iron rule of public policy.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this product works. I even recommended it to my mother, and she's been taking it, and she's 89 years old.
Makes me feel good. It really does. I could feel a change in my well-being, let's put it that way.
So far, it has helped my irritable bowel. So I'm just praying that it just keeps going, because you don't know. This was a dreadful thing. Dreadful.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Balance of Nature, you guys are awesome. God bless you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump leaves it to the states to decide if grown men can go to the bathroom with little girls at 6:36.
And no more whiteboards outside dorm rooms at MSU, Michigan State. The Sparties will explain why. But first, into the newsroom we go. Hello once again to Mike Scott.
51 degrees. Those who work for state government in the state of Illinois who have AFSCME as their representative will know in a few hours if a strike is likely. A strike authorization vote reveal of voting is set for 10:30 this morning. Somewhere out there is a Powerball ticket worth $435 million in Indiana. Unsure right now of exactly what part of the state that ticket was sold in. Transgender students who no longer have federal protections, allowing them to use school bathrooms and locker rooms matching their gender identity. Transgender advocates like Ames Simons in North Carolina call it a step backward.
My stomach feels cold with worry. Even walking out, I saw a large group of school kids leaving the North Carolina General Assembly and wondered how many students who are trans or gender nonconforming in that class might be hearing that same message today and feeling like it's less safe for them in school.
The Trump administration has come down on the side of states' rights, lifting Obama-era guidelines. Some transgender advocates are promising a fight. Nearly a fight at Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton's town hall, facing tough questions from people in his state at an event in Bentonville.
Yes. Like, I don't really care if anybody here is paid or not. You're all Arkansans, and I'm glad to hear from you. So,
Cotton was confronted by a crowd, many of which were not from the state, that was loud and angry over some moves being made by Congress. Chicago police are investigating a deadly 2-vehicle crash on the west side. Authorities say a Kia and Volkswagen collided early this morning near Lake and Central Park Avenue. The impact caused both vehicles to hit a concrete support pillar under the CTA tracks. An investigation is underway after 2 vehicles were struck by gunfire on I-57 near Calumet Park yesterday. State police are heading that investigation. Chicago sports. Nice night of college basketball. DePaul, a last-second win over Georgetown. Billy Garrett icing the game with 2 free throws. Illinois State beats Southern. Bradley, a back-to-back win in the Valley. A victory over Missouri State. Loyola, a win over Drake last night. Number 22 Butler down number 2 Villanova. The news, a service of Liberty Mutual, from weather to traffic and news and everything in between. You've had enough things to worry about today or every day. Insurance shouldn't be one of them. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager can't trust science anymore.
New York Times, May 9th, 2016. California braces for unending drought.
The climate change world hysteria belongs in the secondhand smoke world of hysteria. There is a poison in the scientific community on anything that has to do with public policy.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
They are here, circling over your head, and they're tracking you down. You feel overwhelmed, like you can't escape. You need a solution to get your back taxes filed, to put your life back on track. You need someone who can keep the vultures at bay and work directly with the IRS to leverage every opportunity to settle your tax debt. Mary Karpowitz, CEO of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, is licensed to represent you before the IRS. Don't let the IRS threaten you. You should never need to speak to them directly. Mary does that for you. Comprehensive Tax Solutions will help you settle your entire IRS tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can be a lifesaver for you. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. Call 708-478-6770 now.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
It is 6:38, and a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the west side, Lake Street is closed from Holman to before Pulaski after an early morning wreck at Central Park Avenue. Closures of Central Park there as well. The Edens is 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 20. Kennedy 34 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 22. The Eisenhower 43 minutes. Thorndale to the post office outbound 31. Stevenson already 59 minutes. 3:55 to the drive outbound 39 with a crash past Cass on the right lane. Ryan 27 minutes. 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford 29 minutes. 80-94 to the ride. The northbound Tri-State has scattered delays from 95th to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to St. Charles. Traffic is a service of Connect Better. When you connect better, everything comes together. Join the more than 3 million people who use GoToMeeting every month to connect with their team. Try it free at gotomeeting.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, cooler today, and a bit of rain later in the day. High 50, maybe a thunderstorm overnight, low 41. Currently 50 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Resolved. Trump is making federalism great again by rescinding the Obama order that allowed grown men to go to the bathroom with little girls. Agree or disagree, argue the matter at 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line, Ms. Jacobson. The floor is yours.
It was about public school districts and colleges that President Obama said last May under Title IX that you could go to the bathroom with the gender that you identify with. So even though if you were born like a girl, a woman, and you feel like a man and are transitioning, that you could use the men's washroom.
Sometimes you feel like you have nuts, sometimes you don't.
Oh, see?
Is what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yes.
But my girl, your girl, Betsy DeVos, she reportedly wanted to keep the Obama administration's policy in place.
Well, before we get to that, there's something. The implication of Obama's order was not limited to students. And so the headlines, you want to talk about bias.
Or fake news, yeah.
It's not fake news. The substance of it is semi-accurate. It's incomplete. But this is what we're talking about. In the Hill, Trump administration withdraws protections for transgender students. In the New York Times, Trump rescinds rules protecting transgender students. And then compare that to the Wall Street Journal. Gerard Baker, the editor-in-chief there, and he has chastened his newsroom to keep it down the middle and don't inject your viewpoint. And I assume that includes the headline writers. Trump administration rescinds Obama rules on transgender bathroom use. Yeah, that's what he did.
That's what he did.
That's even handed.
And
New York
CNN,
Times and The Hill, not so much.
Yeah, that was a little inflammatory rhetoric. But CNN, you'd be proud of them this morning. Trump withdraws federal guidelines on transgender bathrooms, kicks it back to the states.
Okay, well that's what he did. But
that's
now,
what it is.
But the implication of the Obama rule, guideline, which was of course an imposition. I suggest you do this at the point of a gun, the way the federal government works. It had implications beyond students at colleges, and David French has written extensively on the topic, and he has made the proper case that free speech, science education, religious liberty, in addition to, of course, federalism, which is addressed here, were implicated with the Obama order. So, for example, arguing that a man can't get pregnant or a woman can't have a unit could create a hostile environment or be considered discriminatory harassment. Teachers and administrators required to participate in and cooperate with the lie that boys can be girls and girls can be boys. So curriculum was implicated as well with this, and you open yourself up to the charge of discrimination because of the Obama order that it now has been rescinded and left to states and localities to chart their own course.
All right. Well, Betsy DeVos reportedly told President Trump that she was uncomfortable rolling it back because she was fearful that the potential harm it could cause transgender students by being bullied if they use their proper bathroom. So she had a meeting with Jeff Sessions, and apparently now she has changed her mind. Well, do you think this? So it's kicking it back to the states. So then, what does that mean?
Well,
that each state's going to decide whether or not
states and localities can make the call.
And this is just for schools and colleges, and public schools and colleges.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, it implicates. I mean, well, right. We're talking about public institutions. We're not talking about Target, right? They can chart their own course too. So essentially, you're putting states and localities, local units of government, as well as state government, in the same position as Target. You can decide what you want to do where you live. Okay. You can decide what you want to do on your property, so to speak.
Peyton and Eli were so excited when I read them the headline. They said, "Oh, can we go back to Target now?"
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry, boys, you can't. Because they don't recognize you as boys.
They take this so to heart. Because they're going through changes and they don't want to see people of not a different gender in their bathrooms.
Yeah, imagine that.
It's sacred to them.
Yeah, imagine little girls and grown men. Imagine the problem of sexual perverts that
What percentage of the population are we talking about? Not even 1%?
No, of course not.
Are transgendered?
No, but because... But this is the tenderness of the left. This is the unrestrained nature of the left. If I can use one person or a group of people to undermine the foundation of our representative republic, undermine the values upon which this nation was founded, well, then I want to take that opportunity. This is the bigot baiting, and the bigot baiting is how I obtain power. So of course they're pursuing this with. And that's why this has been a cause célèbre for the Democrat caucuses in Congress. Why is this so important? Because it has potential political value if leveraged correctly, and certainly the left is trying. Now, on Betsy DeVos, by the way, credit to Trump here, it wasn't just Jeff Sessions. Sessions certainly wanted the order rescinded, and he pressed DeVos to relent, because he couldn't go forward without her consent because the order has to come from Justice and Education, both departments. But ultimately, it's the president's decision, and he sided with Sessions, telling DeVos in a meeting in the Oval Office on Tuesday, according to unnamed sources, that he wanted her to drop her objections, and Miss DeVos was faced with the choice of resigning or defying the president, and she decided to go along and not be a stumbling block on this issue. I hope that's not an indication of Betsy DeVos getting weak-kneed about the left, because the left has, as we've talked about extensively on the show, has completely taken over K through post-secondary education. And if Betsy DeVos is going to be the transformative education secretary she was advertised to be, she is going to need to be stout of heart and stiff of spine in the face of unrelenting and virulent, perhaps even violent opposition from teachers' unions and all the stakeholders in the system at the K through 12 level as currently constituted, in academia as currently constituted. So this is sort of a half a step back right out of the gate from DeVos as far as I'm concerned.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey .pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. I commend Betsy DeVos for what she did and what she was trying to do. She asked, though, because this letter was released to all the schools saying, can we put rhetoric in there that says that despite this new policy, we need a place for the kids to be protected. So that was important for her to be included in the letter.
Why is it? Here's what I thought. I thought we understood that education is a state and local issue. It's not the federal issue. Why is the federal government getting it? There's a predicate question, and the predicate question is, why is this the federal government's business? Before you even get into the substance of the issue of, eliminating the existence of gender and of exposing, literally, little girls to grown men, which is absurd. But why is this the federal government's business? And Betsy DeVos should know that better than anybody. There's the federalism question before you get to the cultural question about bathrooms. Okay. And what she wants the states to do, look, stay out of it. The whole point of making federalism great again, and I commend Trump, who's, really not kind of on board. At least he didn't indicate he was on board with this from a cultural perspective when he was a candidate.
He let Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner, he even invited her, come use whatever washroom you want at the Trump Tower.
Exactly.
And so I was a little surprised when he took this stand yesterday because of that.
Well, so it's a shoulder shrug for him, but that's number one, private property.
Right.
Trump
and it's
Tower.
His property. Right.
And number two, this is easily made as an argument for federalism, so he doesn't have to deal with the cultural implications. Hey, you fight that out at the state and local level. Fight that out in your school district, your municipality, your state. It's none of the government's business. And that's proper. So Betsy DeVos should understand that more than anyone, that don't even get to the culture question. And please dispense with the tired, everything is bullying and everything. We need to have kind of federal guidelines,
federal safe spaces
to prevent people from bullying people for whatever reason. None of your business. Get your nose out of it. We want less federal government intrusion, not more. And just because our guys are in charge now doesn't mean we want you doing, or I should say, interjecting yourself into spaces that I didn't want the left interjecting themselves in either. I believe in subsidiarity, power closest to the people. And Betsy DeVos was advertised as, I'm going to devolve power away from the federal education department. There's hope of even block granting scholarship funds to the local level and failing school districts to provide resources for families that are discriminated against, bullied, if you will, and forced to go to local schools that fail, like in Chicago, because they're not, rich or politically connected. There's a hope that she would devolve power away from the education department, and the hope continues to be Trump will do the same with the federal government writ large. This is a good first step. So, we can talk about both questions, but there are two questions that are interlocked. but they all can also be separated, right? And that's essentially what Trump did. And by the way, somebody who doesn't have a particular social agenda in terms of Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Look how this is playing out. Donald Trump's lack of a social agenda versus, say, Bruce Rauner's lack of a social agenda, right? This is instructive for Bruce Rauner when it comes to things that are pending before the General Assembly, like House Bill 40, which would provide Medicaid-funded abortions. And Rauner is unwilling to make a public statement on it, leaving this cloud hanging over the General Assembly. And by the way, his Republican caucuses, which are overwhelmingly pro-life. And frankly, on this issue, it's about a 75% issue because half of pro-lifers half of pro-choicers at least say, hey, I'm okay if you want to have an abortion, but don't make me pay for it. It's a 75% issue against public funding of abortion. And Rauner can't see his way clear to be Mr. No Social Agenda, Mr. We can't spend any more money that we don't have, and make a definitive statement on the topic. Trump has. In fact, Rauner can't even invoke Trump's name. John Kasich, who ran against Trump and spent, half a year denigrating Trump,
right,
meeting with Trump tomorrow in the White House. Rahm Emanuel met with Trump.
A few times. Yeah.
Governor Rauner can't even speak his name. You think that's smart politics and policy? I don't.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sunshine today. It's going to have some clouds here, though, by this afternoon. Rain this afternoon to a high of 50 degrees. Tonight, a thunderstorm. And tomorrow, a chance of a heavy thunderstorm in spots. A high of 60 for your Friday. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with any hot spots. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, a big trouble spot is in northwest Indiana. Southbound I-65 is closed right now between the Indiana Toll Road and 15th Avenue. Right in that area at the toll road, there's a crash blocking everything on the southbound side. West side of Chicago, Lake Street closed between Holman and near Pulaski after an overnight crash. The investigation's ongoing. Eden's 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, 34 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 24. The Eisenhower is already 57 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. The Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes with a crash past Cass, now on the right shoulder. Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State slow, 95th to 31st in pockets, then from Reagan to St. Charles. Veterans Memorial, slow in both directions around the Army Trail Toll Plaza. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Philadelphia's social engineering leading to layoffs. Olive oil prices skyrocketing. GMC is shrinking the size of one of its popular SUVs. Those stories next.
2017 is the year of Trump, and markets are rising to all-time highs. But economic uncertainty may be greater than after any election in our lifetime. And as retirement approaches, there's little time to recover losses. You need to hedge against uncertainty. That means transferring part of your retirement to physical gold and silver, stored where you can actually hold it in your hands and get it fast in any disaster. It's the perfect time to buy. Prices are low and expected to climb. Make Augusta Precious Metals your personal gold and silver provider. Augusta cares for your financial position and helps you make good decisions. And they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Get Augusta's free gold and silver IRA guide. What you learn could help you weather any economic storm. No obligation. Just call 855-222-6993. That's 855-222-6993. 855-222-6993. Trust Augusta. Protect your retirement today.
Philadelphia's mayor pushing through a 1.5 cent per ounce tax on sweetened beverages following a trend against sugary drinks. The social engineering turning out to be a job killer, however. Soda sales down nearly 50%. Some supermarkets preparing for 20% layoffs of workers because of the downturn in soft drink sales. In the biggest makeover in its 10-year history, GMC is shrinking the size of its Acadia SUV, making it more fuel efficient and improving its technology. Bad weather and pests have hit hard in southern Europe's olive groves, causing smaller harvests, an increase of 64% in wholesale prices. That may translate to sticker shock of 20% or even more to consumers of Italian olive oil. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, check this out. Once again, MyPillow sweetened the deal. In addition to Mike Lindell's 4-pack special with 40% off 2 premium MyPillows, plus those 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, you'll also get free shipping. In fact, you'll get free shipping off any order over $100. So remember, Mike Lindell invented MyPillow for you. His patented fill gives you the exact support that you need where you need it, regardless of sleep position, and you'll get into deep sleep faster and stay there longer. No waking up to a stiff neck. It's made in the USA, washable, dryable, 60-day money-back guarantee. So be one of the cool kids and get a MyPillow today. Go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in that promo code, AMY, or call 800-489-0201.
Calling all business owners. Are you running your business without being incorporated? If you answered yes, you are now eligible to incorporate in just 10 minutes. It's a quick incorporation event from Incorporate.com, designed to save small business owners from the risk of losing everything. Just call this number for your free 10-minute incorporation guide, 1-800-700-6044. If you're not incorporated, it's not just your business that can be sued. It's you, too, which means you could lose everything. Your home, your car, even your life savings. That's why small business owners across the country are now scrambling to incorporate during this event. Call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide while supplies last. 1-800-700-6044. Incorporate.com doesn't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. But hurry and call now while they're still giving these 10-minute incorporation guides away for free. Call 1-800-700-6044. That's 1-800-700-6044.
Upstream-ideas.com, the website that provides premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews this week with CNBC's Jim Urio. 60-second commentaries this week. I focused on leftist xenophobia. Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments, Dollars and Cents, 2-minute warnings, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program that cover Illinois politics and policy. It all can be found at upstream-ideas.com. Sign up today.
Are you behind in your mortgage, facing foreclosure, being given the runaround on a loan modification application by some bank or servicer? Well, you're not alone, but I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've put together a team to help distressed homeowners like you. Give us a call. We give everyone who's eligible a free consultation. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
our latest exclusive report on property taxes in Illinois, the region we're focusing on now, Will County. That's at 7:07.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the people who work for the state government of Illinois, represented by the union AFSCME, will know in a few hours if a strike is likely. A man and woman shot and killed on Chicago's south side. We'll have an update on 2 vehicles hit by gunfire yesterday on I-57. A plan would name almost all of I-55 for former President Barack Obama, but there is pushback from the rest of the state. Blackhawks clash with the Coyotes. DePaul edges Georgetown, and a sunny day this morning. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. With President Trump still planning to build a wall, America's new top diplomat will try to mend fences in Mexico. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly will meet with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto to discuss border security, the president's deportation policies, and plans to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Meanwhile, the president has delayed until next week, issuing a new version of his executive order restricting immigration and banning travel to the U.S. from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. No reason was given for the delay in the order, which is being tailored to address legal issues that blocked the original travel ban. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The Obama administration told public schools they should let students use the bathroom of their choice based on their gender identity. President Trump says that shouldn't be a federal decision.
This is very consistent with a president who has promised to bring power back to the states.
Senior advisor Kellyanne Conway moments ago, but transgender rights advocates promise a court fight.
I think that everybody deserves an equal shot at being who they are.
Meantime, officials in 2 states, New York and California, already say they will keep allowing bathroom choice. One of the 2 teenage girls murdered while hiking in Indiana is being hailed as a hero for having the presence of mind to record the voice of the man police now believe is the killer. He says down the hill on Liberty German's cell phone recording. It's not known for sure yet if that's the same man in a photo on the phone.
Someone knows who this individual is.
State Police Superintendent Doug Carter urging the public to study the photo and offer any information, no matter how small, that might help to identify the suspect. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This morning we have sunrise over Chicago, 49 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. Those who work for AFSCME, the state government union, will know in a few hours if a strike may be likely. Illinois' largest public employee union is set to unveil results of a strike authorization vote at about 10:30 this morning. The union has been at war with Governor Bruce Rauner for over a year now. Somewhere out there is a Powerball ticket worth $435 million. The winning Powerball numbers were drawn Wednesday night, and a winning ticket sold in Indiana. Chicago police are investigating a 2-vehicle crash on the west side. The collision happened this morning near Lake Street and Central Park Avenue. No one in custody following a shooting on Chicago's south side that killed a man and a woman. Police continue to investigate after the victims were found last night near 76th and Champlain. An investigation is also underway by state police after 2 vehicles were struck by gunfire on I-57 near South Suburban Calumet Park. Indiana police say a teen girl turned on her cell phone and recorded a man saying "down the hill" before she and a friend were killed along a northern Indiana hiking trail last week. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter.
We'll find you. Who's next? I hate to ask you that question. I'd give my life to not have to.
Captain David Burson said the audio came from 14-year-old Liberty German's cell phone. A sexual abuse victim of former U.S. House Speaker Dennis Hastert is making another argument for the remainder of the money he says he's owed for keeping silent about the politician's misconduct. The Chicago Tribune reports the latest filing in that man's breach of contract lawsuit says he maintains he's due the entire $3.5 million that Hastert agreed to. The imprisoned Hastert wants that man, who he coached decades ago at Yorkville High School, to return $1.7 million in hush money paid him over several years. Billy Garrett made 2 free throws with about 0.2 of a second left to go. That gave DePaul a win over Georgetown in the Big East, 67-65. Illinois State beats Southern Illinois 50-46. Bradley a winner in the Valley. Loyola a win over Drake 80-65. And the Blackhawks take on the Coyotes later on tonight. The news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast? If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information that thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Promo code RISK. Save 10%. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
Investments in securities involves the risk of loss. The following is a far too common tale of investing in annuities. A successful couple invested a large portion of their savings in annuities, thinking they were a safe way to guarantee a dependable income stream no matter what the market did. But it didn't take long for them to regret their decision. They were locked into low returns, faced potential tax consequences, and that they couldn't get out of their annuities without paying huge penalties. They were stuck, and so was their money. Suddenly, their retirement hopes and dreams were in danger. But it didn't have to happen to them, and it doesn't have to happen to you. You can avoid the annuity trap. Here's one way. Get the free report Annuity Insights, your guide to better understanding annuities, by calling 1-800-396-3336. Written by Forbes columnist and money manager Ken Fisher's firm. This powerful report could help save you from major financial heartache, and it's offered today for free. If you have an annuity or are considering one, claim your free annuities guide today. Hurry, free copies are limited. Call now, 1-800-396-3336. 1-800-396-3336.
7:06. Let's check the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. First, we have a correction on the I-65. There's a closure northbound at the Indiana Toll Road due to a crash. This crash was initially reported southbound. It's a northbound closure right near the toll road. And the toll road itself has significant roadwork delays in both directions in Porter County. Inbound Edens is running 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. Inbound Eisenhower, it's an hour and 6 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. There's a crash at Wooddale Road, 48 minutes from Manheim, outbound 35 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 46 minutes for the crash on the right side at Cass. Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slow in pockets between 95th and 31st. Then from the Reagan Tollway to St. Charles. Batteries of Oriole slow northbound from the Army Trail Toll to Army Trail. And southbound, Army Trail Toll to St. Charles. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here is meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler. A little rain late in the afternoon, high 50. Tonight, periods of rain and a thunderstorm, low 41. Clouds and breaks of sun with a shower or heavy thunderstorm in the area tomorrow, high 60. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunshine and 50. Next news at 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
I think some people are clearly upset, but there is a bit of professional protester manufactured base in there.
My prediction is he keeps up on this path, which is likely. I don't think he'll change. Within 3-4 months, you're going to see a whole lot of Republicans breaking with him.
I hope so. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah. In the next 48 hours, Project Veritas, like WikiLeaks, will be releasing hundreds of hours of tape from within the establishment media. Our next target is, in fact, the media.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, some interesting news from NASA. Astronomers there have discovered 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a star called TRAPPIST-1 that may be habitable.
So we're moving the show? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying this is a place where the Hollywood left can relocate.
Oh, hey-oh, yes, in outer space.
But it is about the planets, the orbit the star TRAPPIST-1. That star is about 40 light years away.
Oh, so it'll take a while to get there. Do you think that we can have bathroom stops along the way?
Well, we're going to need them because if I'm remembering from Battlestar Galactica correctly, a light year would take about 37,000 years for a space shuttle to travel 1 light year. So 40, so that's like 1.5 million
Yeah, we should get there around noon. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, 1.5 million, human years. So that's that could be a bit of a challenge. It's a long journey is my point. Yeah. But you don't need to go as far as one of those 7 planets about TRAPPIST-1 to escape Illinois property taxes, and that's what a lot of people are doing. Our latest installment in our analysis of property taxes by region brings us to Will County. This is in the Will County Gazette, willcountygazette.com, one of my papers. At $21,562 per student for each of its 94 students, Union District was the top spender in Will County last year and the 11th highest in all of Illinois, ranked among the state's wealthiest communities like Kenilworth, Lake Forest, Winnetka, Evanston. The district raised its spending, the school district with 94 students, raised its local spending by 136% in real dollars, inflation adjusted, between 2007 and 2015. And during that time, in property taxes in Unit 81's district increased nearly $5,400 per home.
Ooh.
By the way, during that
$5,400
per
home per year.
Per home, no, in total.
In total. Oh, okay.
During that span, its enrollment fell 8%, as did local property values by even more significantly. So just understand something. They increased spending by 136%. At the same time, enrollment declined 8%. This is the story of Illinois. And it turns out it has implications because of the 22 Will County communities we analyzed. Median home prices fell between 18 and 38% between that same 2007 to 2015 period. Of the 33 school districts analyzed in those 22 communities, 30 of the 33 spent more in 2015 than in 2007, including 13 districts which lost enrollment during the same period. The result? Well, here's the result. Let's go right down the list. Median home prices in Will County by community from 2007 to 15. Crest Hill, down 38%. Manhattan, down 36%. Joliet, down 36%. Crete, down 35%. Orland Park, down 34%. Tinley Park, down 34%. Bolingbrook, 33%. Romeoville, 33%. Beecher, 33%. Lockport, 32%. Shanahan, 31%. Braidwood, 31%. University Park, 30%. And on all the way down to Frankfort, which is down 18%. As we've done with other regions we've analyzed, if you project out to 2023 under our current property tax classification system and taxation system, University Park comes in at number 1. Median home price in University Park in 2023 will be $93,760. The property taxes paid from the period of 2015 to 2023 will be $104,645. In other words, you'll pay 111% of your home value in property taxes just during that period. Crete, you'll pay 97%. Moni, you'll pay 87%. Joliet, you'll pay 79%. Braidwood, you'll pay 78%. Romeoville, you'll pay 78%. And again, the school spend, and it's not just schools, but schools are the biggest recipient of property tax dollars, right? So let's focus in rank order of priority here. As I mentioned, Union 81 outside of Joliet, 136%. Fairmont 89, 39% increase during the same period. Reed Custer 255 in Braidwood, 36% increase in spending. Kirby 140 in Tinley Park, 30% increase in spending. Manhattan 114, 27% increase in spending, and so on and so forth. And here's a question, too. As the schools spend your home into a government rental, as the schools spend such that they extract your home equity from you, are you getting 30% better output? 27% better? 25% better? If you think about your schools between 07 and 15, are you left in wonderment by the value add from the spending increase? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. And let me tell you the story about Lincoln Way, which everybody in Frankfort, New Lenox, Mokina, Manhattan knows, but a lot of people don't. Lincoln Way High School District 210 is currently under FBI and SEC investigation over questionable financial practices that include payments to a dog training school for an ex-superintendent. The district is suffocating in debt. Taxpayers owe $474 million, largely thanks to a decision to spend nearly $250 million building 2 new high schools, only to close one of those 2 schools 8 years after it opened.
Yeah, there was a big to-do of which one they should close.
Taj Mahal building, expansionism. Lincoln Way still found a way to spend more on salaries and operations, increasing local tax spending 20% from 2007 to 2015. Frankfurt home values fell, as I mentioned, 18%. Mokina home prices 21%. Manhattan home prices 37% over that period. And so what's happening? Will County, for those that don't know the geography of Illinois, turns out to be right close to Indiana. And that's where Will County residents are going.
Why not? You could save thousands a month. I mean, people can't retire in this state because you have to keep working to pay your property taxes.
Well, let's make this concrete. So Manhattan's effective property tax rate is 3.44% of home value, or $6,880 on a $200,000 home. The buyer of a $210,000 home in Crown Point, Indiana, which is right on the border of Will County, would pay $1,221, or 1/5 of what they would pay in Manhattan. So let me put this question to you another way. Do you think that the schools in Manhattan are 5 times better than the schools in Crown Point, Indiana? Do you think the local government services are 5 times better in Manhattan than they are in Crown Point, Indiana? I mean, I've also just told this story about the city of Joliet, the actual city itself. Now, there's been regime change since this. This goes back to 2010. But in 2010, the average city of Joliet employee, another local government unit, taxing body, it only gets, I don't know exactly what it is, but municipal government gets between 10 and, really on the high end, 15% of local property tax dollars. So it's relatively small, particularly compared to schools, but still matters. Average city employee in Joliet was making north of $80,000. Median household income in Joliet just under $50,000. You include the benefits, the average city employee in Joliet, $125,000 all in. So you have people live in Joliet making $50,000, providing for the guaranteed salary and benefit levels of people making $125,000. Is that fair? Is that adding value? Is that making Joliet a magnet for residents and businesses, for that matter? I don't know. It's kind of some important questions, particularly as Democrats are trying to, with Republican capitulation, by the way, trying to engineer another tax hike to continue to extend this model of governance we have in Illinois. Wall Street Journal opined on it yesterday, Illinois' tax heist, describing what's happening as the governor gets wobbly and as Senate Superminority Leader Christine Radogno and some weak-kneed senators, Republican senators, go along with this grand bargain, which is just a tax increase for phony reforms that do nothing to change the trajectory of Illinois. They take a neutral position, as a Wall Street Journal, on Bruce Rauner, probably crossing their fingers and hoping he doesn't fold. I am too. Mary Ann in Tinley Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. Good morning, Amy. This business about this union district out in Will County, it's very small, as you said, 96 students. And coincidentally, the superintendent of that school is also the mayor of New Lenox.
Oh,
and
that's convenient.
Right.
Wait, it gets better. Fasten your seatbelt.
Okay.
He is also the former chief of police of Chicago Ridge.
I know who this is.
Left his job because he was listing a dead body and threw out his back for how many years. But he made the front page of the Sun-Times surfing in Australia last winter or 2 winters ago.
Yeah,
workers' comp fraud.
Tim, what's his name?
Yeah, Balderman.
Balderman, yeah, Tim Balderman. Yeah, no, I know it.
Yeah, and here's what kills me is I don't know how you go from being a cop. I mean, you have to have a master's degree to be a superintendent, and you have to take a state exam for superintendency. And the old licensure used to be Type 75. On top of your Type 75, you can get various endorsements if you take the coursework, if you pass the test. And all of a sudden, he turned up as the superintendent.
Yeah.
Will County is very rural out there, and there's a lot of farmland, and I think that's the tax issues in Will County. There's so many unincorporated neighborhoods and houses and farms and stuff, but it's all, you know what, it's everything you talk about. I just drive to work and cringe because you're so on point.
Thanks.
And it's so horrible. How does a mayor be a superintendent making I think he's at 140 something to manage 96 kids?
Thanks for the call, Marianne. Appreciate it. And Balderman, the double and triple dipping. That's school district, that union school district, Union 81. That's just obscene. That's obscene. It's theft. And by the way, New Lenox.
He had to pay back his workers' comp.
Yeah, right. And New Lenox, where Tim Balderman's the mayor, property value is down 25%. Why? Because of the scams that Tim Balderman is a part of. And by the way, he's a Republican. He had a dalliance with the idea of running for Congress as a Republican. Do I care? No. I care about that as much as I care about Bob Miller in Algonquin Township running the family business out of the highway department to the tune of $400,000 a year, and that he's a Republican. By the way, Bob Miller, who's whining about us raising this issue in Algonquin Township of his compensation, $400,000 for him and his family members to kind of have a little wholly owned subsidiary at taxpayer expense up there in Algonquin Township. He's complaining, nobody reached out to me for comment. First of all, you're lying, Bob Miller. So stop lying. That's number one.
Because you guys did reach out to him.
Keith, our producer, called him 3 times. Number 2, you have an open invitation. So we'll just dispense with who called who. Open invitation, Bob Miller, Algonquin Township. Tell all the family members that are, that are employed, all the people in Highway Township. Open invitation. Name the day and time. Come on, and we'd be happy to have you on the show. You don't think I want to hear from you? Oh, I want to hear from you. Let's have a conversation about it. Tweet from Ben Heck. I live in Manhattan. I would love to call in and agree and elaborate more. I pay $5,000 in property taxes on a $130,000 home. Are you kidding me? Death. So is this enough to stoke the revolt in Illinois? To change the property tax system, as I've suggested before, 1% hard cap on property taxes as a percentage of home value, just like Indiana has. Is this enough to stoke the revolt? And are you willing to not just say this is right and what's happening is wrong, because that's the easy part, that's the obvious part, the data couldn't be more clear, but are you also willing to stand up against your school board and your local Pauls and the teachers union and the sentimental leftists who are all going to decry the fact that because they're bad at math or they think math is an opinion, that they want to continue taking your home away from you, because if you don't support, I should say, blank checks for the school district and for the local officials, if you don't support that, then you're anti-teacher, you're anti-kid, you know the arguments. Are you really willing to revolt and stand up to the opposition? Or are you just going to go silently, watch your home go silently by and, figure your way out? That's a real question, because I don't really know the answer. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. George in Libertyville.
Hey, Dan. Great topic again. But I'll tell you, what's really frustrating is when you hear, the State of the State speech, and I appreciate Bruce Rauner trying to be professional in his comments, but these guys got to start taking the microphone and in the same manner Trump did, literally calling out the hypocrisy of what's going on and the people responsible for these decisions, because unless people get hit over the head with the truth pipe, nobody does anything. And he's a good man and he understands his stuff. But, you know, the hard truth in a very brutal, harsh way has to start being told when these guys are in front of the microphone. And Trump proved that works.
Yeah, well, that's right. And here's the thing, George. Here's the thing. As I'm wont to cite C.S. Lewis, courage is the formation of every virtue at its testing point. You cannot be any of the virtuous things you say you are or you want to believe you are if you don't have the courage to fight, to stand against predators, whether they be in government or a public sector union or your next door. Sean from Elmwood Park.
This is organized crime, what you're talking about. This is absolute organized crime. And this guy wants to come on, he's complaining, you're a scumbag. And the other guy was out surfing, another scumbag. And the other thing is, this is serfdom. Serfdom is when it's better to be a part of the corruption than it is not to be in it. See, it's better for these municipalities to sit on their big fat duffs and wait to retire, because those salaries you talk about, then when they retire, they get 80% of it, and then 3% kickers every year. Well, within a few years, they make more for doing nothing, and they're laughing at us while they retire down in these states, and they pretend to be taxpayers, and they pretend to be productive. End it all. Everything is privatized. Everything. Because the reality is they violated their office. They're supposed to watch out for us, not themselves. Throw them all out today. I got an axe handle in my trunk. Let's get started. I'll pick you up, Pee Wee Herman. You got that little thing on your shirt?
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
And back to that Balderman guy. He was supposed to get $5 million on disability pay. $5 million. Thank God they put a stop to that. Forecast for today, sunshine right now, going up to a high of 50 degrees. Tonight, some thunderstorms, and tomorrow, heavy thunderstorms, a high of 60. Let's get to it. Into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Things are blocked right now on northbound I-65 near the Indiana Toll Road due to a crash. On the northbound side, we're seeing delays on the northbound tri-state from 95th most of the way to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to St. Charles Veterans Memorial, so 75th to the Reagan Tollway, and southbound, it is heavy in that area as well. On the Edens inbound, travel time from Lake Cook to Montrose is 29 minutes, outbound 27. Inbound Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, we're looking at a 41-minute drive, outbound it's 29. The Eisenhower. Travel time from Thorndale to downtown is an hour and 10 minutes. The crash at Wooddale Road, it's 49 minutes from Manheim, outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 48 minutes. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Time is ticking, less than a month. That's all the time left for you to book your trip to join us and Joe Walsh in beautiful Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. So stop procrastinating and book that trip. We're staying at the Adults Only Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It is brand new. It has all the bells and whistles, wonderfully appointed rooms and soft bedding, 24-hour room service. You know the drill. And you can sit by one of their sparkling pools or hit the beach. So get more information and book your trip today. It's a guaranteed good time. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport. But hurry, time is running out to secure this exclusive price from our good friends at Apple Vacations.
This is the year. It's time to sell or buy your home. The realtor you choose should have experience and success. Hi, I'm John Wright of the Wright Real Estate Group. We've sold 1,100 homes in 142 towns and municipalities in Chicagoland. Chances are you know someone who has sold or purchased a home from the Wright Real Estate Group of Keller Williams. Let our success be your success when buying or selling a home. The Wright Real Estate Group doesn't rely on celebrity endorsements to sell your home. We rely on results. When you're ready to buy or sell a home, call me, John Wright, at 630-407-1641 or log on to WrightRealEstateGroup.com. Sell or buy a home through the Wright Real Estate Group, and we'll donate $500 at closing to Food for the Poor to feed 10 children in your honor. Call 630-407-1641. The Wright Real Estate Group of Keller Williams. Moving at the speed of right.
The C.H. Hansen Company stands proud as a great American hand tool manufacturer. Founder C.H. Hansen was a Chicago native, and the company remains family-owned and operated for over a century and a half. C.H. Hansen wishes to thank their employees for their service and customers for their business. C.H. Hansen offers over 2,000 products, stock and custom order in 8 product categories, including steel stamps, stencils, metal tags, barricade and flagging tapes, plus Palmgren, makers of work-holding vices and metalworking machinery. Although business, products, customers, and the industry have changed, the leadership of C.H. Hansen continues to attribute success on the founding principles of faith and quality tools. The mission of C.H. Hansen is to glorify God by the way that they serve their customers, treat employees, and help community. This is accomplished by providing valued products, exemplary customer service, and operation excellence. Visit chhansen.com or palmgren.com for more information.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take balance of nature because I've seen it in my lab. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection, and I know that it works.
Balance of Nature is providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Jesse Waters, he of Waters World on Fox News, joins us to preview a Milo-free CPAC. That's at 7:37.
And a city council unanimously votes to have President Trump impeached. Comedy ensues. But first, let's go to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunshine and 48 degrees. Listen up, friends in Indiana. Someone in Lafayette, Indiana, not named Gene Keating, is the big winner of that lottery prize. A ticket sold there in Lafayette matched all 5 numbers in last night's Powerball drawing. Iraqi officials say federal police forces have seized control of the runway at Mosul International Airport. It's in the middle of fierce clashes with the ISIS terror group. Protesters are blasting a Trump administration decision to rescind a rule that allows transgender students to use the restroom of their choice. Demonstrators gathered outside of the White House, while Tammy Fitzgerald with the North Carolina Values Coalition says Title IX and other federal rules were never meant to apply to gender identity politics.
I agree with President Trump. This is a state issue, and the federal government was engaged in gross overreach when it issued this directive that impacted every public school in the country.
The White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says the president believes it's a matter best left to the states. Big shakeup at the White House today. President Trump's new National Security Advisor said to be considering reorganizing the entire White House foreign policy team. You recall on Monday, the president appointed Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, a widely respected military strategist. Sources tell the New York Times McMaster is likely to reorganize the entire foreign policy team to give himself control of Homeland Security and full access to military and intelligence agencies. McMaster's appointment has been welcomed by both Republicans and Democrats on the Hill. The new NSA, National Security Advisor, planning an all-hands staff meeting today. Those who work for the state government union AFSCME will know in a few hours if a strike is likely in the state of Illinois. Chicago police are investigating a 2-vehicle crash on the west side. Authorities say a Kia and Volkswagen collided early this morning near Lake and Central Park Avenue. Chicago sports, big night of college basketball, a Big East win for DePaul over Georgetown. In the Valley, Illinois State beat Southern Illinois, Bradley a winner over Missouri State, and Loyola downs Drake. The news, a service of Liberty Mutual. From weather to traffic and news and everything in between, you have enough things to worry about every day. Insurance should not be one of them. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I'd say the same thing to a billionaire that I would say to somebody making $30,000 a year.
The Joe Walsh Show.
The money you make, the money you earn, the money you invest, that's your money, damn it. And I think it's your duty, it's your right to do whatever you can do legally to limit what you give government, because we have a government that's too damn big.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you've never been to a coin show, here's your chance to find out what collectors and investors have known for years. It's fun, full of history, and it can be a great investment. Make plans to attend the Greater Chicago Coin, Currency, and Collectible Show. It's one of the largest in the nation, and it's free. The show is at the Tinley Park Convention Center, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, February 23rd through 25th. Admission and parking is free. Just bring your photo ID. Hundreds of dealers, the best coin dealers from all over the country. See displays valued at millions of dollars, U.S. and world paper money, gold and silver bullion, and a lot more. Friday at 5, Fox Valley Coins will hold a rare coin auction. This is a show for the whole family, collectors, investors, or if you just want to find out more about coins, currency, and collectibles. This show is a can't miss. The Greater Chicago Coin, Currency, and Collectible Show. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, February 23rd through the 25th at the Tinley Park Convention Center. Admission and parking is free with your photo ID. Get more information at chicagocoinshow.com. That's chicagocoinshow.com.
Hey everyone, Dave from Draft Tech here with a big call out to our general and MEP contractor friends out there. Are you guys completely satisfied with your BIM situation? Maybe you don't think you're getting as much bang for your buck as you'd hoped for. Perhaps you're not getting the service you expected. Maybe you find the level of communication between you and them lacking. If you're experiencing any of those issues, we want you to take a good look at Draft Tech. We've got project coordination savvy and we'll be a strong advocate for you in the BIM meetings. We've got the availability to meet you at the job site when you need us, and we've got the professional courtesy you expect to keep you in the loop every step of the way. And we're not just a BIM service, we can help you out with any kind of shop drawings, submittal drawings, or any other design or drafting you might need. So check us out at draftingresults.com. That's Draft Tech at draftingresults.com. Draft Tech, cutting-edge technology, old-school service.
If you're planning for the future and focused on growing your portfolio, pay attention to this message. Are you properly positioned to take advantage of changing markets? The Investor Education Institute is conducting a 3-session course on how to spot potential wealth-building opportunities. Call 800-504-8505 right now because these courses are limited to 20 attendees per session and can sell out quickly. You'll learn about the differences between passive and proactive investment strategies, something the big Wall Street firms typically won't teach you. Most importantly, you'll have access to the cutting-edge research, market studies, and proprietary software to help you determine market trends and potential turning points. These tools are designed to help you seek out potential wealth-building opportunities, help you avoid areas of risk, and eliminate decisions based on fear and emotions. Take back control of your financial future. Call the Investor Education Institute right now at 800-504-8505 before this event sells out. That's 800-504-8505. Or register online at instituteforinvestors.com.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. My Parts Garage is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory, so your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Plus, the customer service is seriously awesome. So the last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find auto parts. With the average driver in Chicago commuting at least 24 miles per day, people are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you, the mechanic. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed.
A Beautyrest Platinum mattress brings you innovative design and superior style. With Beautyrest Platinum, experience elegantly orchestrated sleep at Chicagoland's only locally owned mattress retailer, American Mattress.
Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Eden's inbound 25 minutes. Mike from Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 29. The Kennedy 42 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. Actually, make it 45 now. The outbound side is 30. The Eisenhower, an hour and 10 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 49 minutes from Manheim. There's a crash at Wooddale Road. Outbound 44 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Northbound Tri-State, so 95th to the 83rd Street toll. And from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, Reagan Tollway to St. Charles Veterans Memorial. So from the Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway, before the Army Trail Toll to 290, traffic service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast, if you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves could use to steal your identity. We're here with LifeLock, a U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, cooler. A little rain this afternoon, high 50. Periods of rain and a thunderstorm overnight, low 41. Currently sunshine and 48. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So CPAC this weekend, it's Milo free. And it's Milo free because of interviews that surfaced, as we've talked about the last couple of days, where Milo seems to advocate for, frankly, pedophilia. And he had a press conference yesterday, resigning as the tech editor of Breitbart. He apologized, although did not walk back the way he deals with being a victim of sexual assault himself. But it's interesting, the reaction and the consequences. And this is not a moral relativist argument because somebody that's of the right engaged in bad behavior and suffered consequence. We highlight somebody of the left who did the same thing and didn't suffer the same consequences. No. So the person on the right shouldn't have suffered the consequences. The point, as I often say, is we could be them, but they couldn't be us. And that's what we want to remember. Nevertheless, it is useful to point up the hypocrisy on this issue. And Bill Maher, who Milo was just with on over the past weekend, he once tackled this topic as well.
Yeah, it was about the Seattle school teacher, 35-year-old, who became impregnated with her 13-year-old student at the time. You remember Mary Jo Capecci?
Mary Kay Letourneau, the teacher from Seattle, who is in jail because she is in love. That's how I view it. I admit that it's unorthodox. She is 35. The boy is 14. He was younger when they started. But the big story this week...
Has he been bar mitzvahed?
Have I?
No, is he?
Oh. Okay. But she is pregnant again. That was the story this week. With the second child by this boy. So basically they're having a family, and they're keeping the mother in jail because she won't conform to what society feels should be the perfect American family.
Yeah, it's perfect. My dad's 14 years older than me.
Absolutely sickening.
What is sickening?
A woman who's over 20 years older, and she raped this kid.
Raped?
Well.
Come on. She forced? How do you know? And how can you?
Well, how do you know that she didn't rape him?
How can a woman
know that she didn't seduce him?
How can a woman rape a man?
She did. That's the age of consent. But it's okay if Bill Maher supports pedophiliacs. But it's not okay. Pedophilia, but it's not okay if Milo does.
It's a statutory, right? It's the age of consent. It's statutory. It's not a question of consent. You don't have the standing to offer consent in that situation. So that was a story and commentary from Bill Maher that had the politically incorrect, right, talk about an oxymoron, audience in stitches. Interesting. Gives you a little bit of insight into the value system of the left, and so just consider their value system and their situational ethics. Again, that's not excusing Milo or arguing with the consequences that befell him, but it is highlighting the difference between the two sides. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Jesse Waters. Of course, you know Jesse Waters. He's the O'Reilly Factor correspondent and host of his own show, Waters World, on Fox News, and he is going to be at the Milo Free CPAC this weekend. Jesse, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Amy. How you guys doing? I just arrived here at CPAC. Place is off the hook, so happy to be here.
What's the Milo buzz thus far?
Well, I just arrived,
Okay.
so I haven't taken in any buzz yet, but I'm going to be asking a lot of the participants here about Milo and what their take is. I mean, my first kind of gut instinct here is this guy is a provocateur thing to get a reaction and kind of, live by the sword, die by the sword. It looks like his career is imploding. He's going to have to take some time off and rehab himself and then maybe try to reinvent himself because he had a pretty rough week, as you guys all know.
Yeah, it's been a rough 96 hours for him. So CPAC is becoming more mainstream. It's not just Ron and Rand Paul. Are you going to be talking to people and asking them why they're there, or are you focusing specifically on Milo?
Well, I mean, I'm going to touch on Milo a little bit. I'm doing a package for the O'Reilly Factor. We're going to ask people, why do conservatives still have a problem with Trump, or who's your favorite conservative? And then for my show, which is going to be airing on Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern this weekend, I'm going to be asking about Milo and, asking why conservatives can't seem to get it together in Washington still. They haven't done much in Congress so far. And, so we're just kind of taking the pulse to the CPAC crowd, basically.
So Waters World again this weekend, Saturday, 7 p.m. Chicago time. A number of topics to be covered. One of them, I understand, you're going to talk to persons that are here illegally, ask them about their journey and their opinions about Donald Trump. What's the angle of innocence there? What do you hope to get from those interviews?
Well, obviously there's 11 million illegal aliens here in the country, and Trump's starting to undertake some raids. And these DHS memos just came out where they're going to start getting tough. And are these people here? Are they scared of Trump? Are they in the shadows? What does that mean? You always hear people are in the shadows. What does that mean? So we're going to be talking to some illegal aliens up in the Bronx and finding out when they got here. Do they fear police? Are they committing crimes? One person I talked to, because we just taped it, said he's been back and forth across the border 3 times. So I don't think there's a lot of fear when it comes to immigration enforcement in this country, but that's all about to change.
Yeah, but that's Vicente Fox, who keeps coming back and forth.
No, the person that you just interviewed, that he comes back and forth. How is he sneaking back in every time? Did he disclose that?
Yeah, I mean, he says it's very easy to cross the southern border. He comes across via Arizona. I think I talked to 3 people who said they came through Arizona. That seems to be a real hole down there. They pay the coyotes a lot of pesos, and they save up for it. And, it's a long journey. They don't just come across in like a day or two. It takes several days, sometimes longer, and they make it all the way up to places like New York. So it's pretty easy if you're an illegal to get all the way up through the country, but I think that's about to change once that wall gets built.
One of the things that you do that I really enjoy, and the most recent installation was excellent, is get onto college campuses and get after academics who are trying to indoctrinate students and inject their politics into the classroom. And, man, that story at St. Joe's in Pennsylvania was really something about what that comm studies department had said, and then you trying to get him to elaborate on what he said in classroom when you confronted him on campus.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic that the head of the communications department can't really communicate when you put a camera in his face.
Yeah.
And St. Joe still has not taken any action. There's guys in the classroom telling students that white Trump voters don't open your heart up to them, they're bad people, and that a Trump administration is going to lead to death in America. And, we just try to hold people accountable, that's all. And he didn't want to talk, and that's fine. But he was pretty embarrassed out there. So hopefully, more and more professors that do this, they're going to be held accountable.
Are you going to go to Michigan State University soon because they're banning, you can't display whiteboards outside your dorm room anymore? Because
it's a tool of harassment.
It might be some offensive words.
I have not heard about that story, but thanks for bringing it to my attention. As a matter of fact, I just got back from a campus outside of Philadelphia the other day, where they have White Privilege Month. People are walking around wearing pins to acknowledge and apologize for their white privilege. So that's going to be on the show this weekend at 7 o'clock your time and 8 o'clock Eastern. So I asked people, if you could change your race, would you change your race? And these people said, oh, no, I'd stay white. And then I'd say, so you like your white privilege? And they go,
Hey, I have a great idea for a segment for you. So last January, in the month alone, 452 people escaped America and went into Canada. There's a small town near Quebec that you could go to, and you can interview them crossing into Canada from America. What do you think? Why are you doing it? What are you running from?
That's right. Yes, that northern border is not very secure.
No, not at all.
Right, yes.
I don't mind if celebrities cross there. If Lena Dunham wants to go to Canada, that's fine. But maybe we'll have to build a wall so she doesn't come back.
I think even Justin Trudeau would draw the line at Lena Dunham. He is Jesse Waters. He's the O'Reilly Factor correspondent and the host of Waters World. This Saturday night, 7 p.m. Chicago time, you're going to want to check it out. He's live he'll be live at CPAC. He'll be giving you what's happening at CPAC, reactions to the controversy surrounding Milo Yiannopoulos, as well as talking to illegal immigrants about how they got here, interviewing Tucker Carlson, going to that college in Pennsylvania that you just mentioned, celebrating White Privilege Month of sorts. Jesse Waters, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. See you later, Amy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and congratulations on all your success. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
And tonight we have a thunder boomer around here. Love that. And then tomorrow, Friday, variable cloudiness, a shower, heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high of 60. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Your inbound Kennedy's got heavier. We're looking at about an hour and 5 minutes right now from O'Hare to downtown. On the outbound side, it's 40 minutes. The Eden's just 23 minutes Lake Cook to the junction, but outbound 30. The Eisenhower's an hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 58 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 45 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow in pockets between 95th and 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to St. Charles, Veterans Memorial, heavy from the Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway. And from before the Army Trail Toll to 290, Indiana Toll Road has roadwork delays both eastbound and westbound in Porter County. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Visit upstreamideas.com and sign up today for premium content that complements what we do on this show. This week, my interview with Jim Urio, CNBC analyst, and also denizen of the Chicago suburbs. So a lot to say both on national and state level economic policy. 60-second commentaries this week. I focused on leftist xenophobia, as well as man on the street interviews with our Follow the Logic segment, our version of Waters World of sorts. In addition to 2-minute warnings and dollars and cents and podcasts of Illinois Rising, our program that focuses on state of Illinois politics and policy, as well as all of the property tax exposés we've done by region. They can all be found at upstream-ideas.com. Sign up today.
Attend the Lake County Gun and Sportsman Show and Youth Gun Giveaway, Sunday, February 26th, 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the VFW in Antioch, Illinois. Visit vintagearms.com for info.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know. The credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people, they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020. That's 800-518-4020.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. Leslie, people have spring fever. Consumer confidence is up, and that means spending. We want folks to enjoy what they've worked so hard for, but don't forget...
Craig, are you trying to tell me something? I know. Retirement's right around the corner.
Listen, a new season is time for regrowth and building on what you already have. You don't need to do it alone if you have Wealth Management Group at your side.
Spring into action to make Wealth Management Group your go-to partner, and listen to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Looking to stop the runaround? Continental Audi of Naperville puts you in the driver's seat with straight talk and no hassle. Plus, we offer maintenance valet service and our VIP loyalty program after the sale. It's part of the Continental difference that you'll experience. Right now, lease the legendary Audi A4 for only $399 a month, and we'll even make your first payment to get you started. Continental Audi Naperville has a large selection, including more than 300 new and pre-driven vehicles ready to drive. Plus, qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on certified Audis. Drive an Audi and feel the difference in your driving enjoyment. Drive an Audi from Continental and you'll know the difference an exceptional dealership can make. Experience the Continental Audi difference. ContinentalAudi.com.
36-month lease, $3,015 due outstanding, includes first month payment, tax, title, license, extra. Subject to credit approval through Audi Financial Services.
Spring is in the air. The days are getting longer and the sun is shining brighter. Wouldn't it be nice to have new, customized window treatments to give your home a fresh look? The Blind Buddy can help you accomplish that without breaking the bank. Forget overpriced big box stores or pushy fly-by-night franchises. The Blind Buddy is an independently owned business serving Chicagoland for over 20 years by one of Chicago's first responders. They offer quality window treatments at affordable prices. Shutters, wood blinds, solar shades. Choose from a wide variety to fit your home or business, plus your style and budget. John, the Blind Buddy, will come to you and personally handle measurement to installation. The whole process can usually be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Read the Blind Buddy reviews on Yelp, then give John a call to set up a free in-home consultation. The Blind Buddy's got Chicago covered. Visit theblindbuddy.com or call 773-893-0-BUD. That's 773-893-0-BUD.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
No justice, no peace. Maxine calls out the Kremlin cronies at 8:08.
And later, yes, Trump impeaching Donald Trump. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, temps are expected to drop following our unseasonably warm stretch of weather. 2 vehicles hit by gunfire on I-57 and the state police investigate. And the Blackhawks clash with the Coyotes tonight. We'll start the day sunny. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The White House defending President Trump's decision to reverse what President Obama told public schools about bathroom choice, prompting a rally last night outside the White House, where Fox Radio's John Decker is live.
Arguing local school districts and state governments should have a primary role in setting policy, the Education and Justice Departments formally withdrew Obama administration guidance, which allowed transgender students to use bathrooms and locker rooms of their choice. White House spokesman Sean Spicer.
The president's made it clear throughout the campaign that he's a firm believer in states' rights and that certain issues like this are not best dealt with at the federal level.
Many transgender activists are now pinning their hopes on an upcoming Supreme Court case that could decide whether Title IX covers transgender students. Lisa?
Meantime, John, officials in at least 2 states, New York and California, have said they will keep allowing bathroom choice. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly meet today with top Mexican officials, including the Mexican president, a kind of fence-mending mission amid Mexican criticism of President Trump's immigration crackdowns. The U.S. mission in Iraq is still to advise and assist for now.
When someone is shooting at you, that is combat.
Pentagon spokesman Colonel John Dorian, after the commander of U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria, said they're operating closer than ever to the front lines. This ahead of a 30-day deadline set by President Trump for a new plan. ISIS under pressure on several fronts. Libyan forces retaking key parts of Benghazi as the battle for more of Mosul continues in Iraq, and Turkish-backed forces hitting ISIS targets in Syria. More Americans filing for unemployment benefits, but even with the increase last week, the 4-week average still at the lowest level since 1973. Just ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures are higher. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 48 degrees. It is 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Someone in Lafayette, Indiana is a big winner. A ticket sold there matched all 5 numbers in last night's Powerball drawing, winning a $435 million jackpot. People who work for the state government union AFSCME will know in a few hours if a strike is likely. Illinois' largest public employees union is set to unveil results of a strike authorization vote around 10:30. Chicago police are investigating a deadly 2-vehicle crash on the west side. It happened early this morning under the CTA tracks near Lake Street and Central Park Avenue. No one in custody following a shooting on Chicago's south side that killed a man and woman. Both were pronounced dead at the hospital. A community activist claims the woman who was shot and killed was pregnant. An investigation is underway by state police after 2 vehicles were hit by gunfire on I-57 near Calumet Park. No one was hurt. Almost all of the drive from Chicago to St. Louis could soon be on the Barack Obama Expressway. State Representative LaShawn Ford yesterday telling lawmakers in Springfield it would be an honor to rename I-55 after the former president. Ford's plan would add Obama's name to nearly 280 miles of the road. But a number of lawmakers in central and southern Illinois say they're not so sure, and they'll block that name change. College hoops last night. DePaul, a Big East win over Georgetown. In the Valley, Illinois State beat Southern. It was a Bradley win over Missouri State, and Loyola down Drake 80-65. The Blackhawks will clash with the Coyotes tonight. This update is a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, as the world's fastest amputee, he runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcoming, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, coal sales slipped in the holiday season, but were not as weak as predicted. Kohl's is blaming declines in brick-and-mortar traffic. The long-promoted $65 flights between the U.S. and Europe on Norwegian Air are starting June 15th. The first flights will be from Stewart International Airport in Newburgh, New York, to Edinburgh, Scotland. The next fare level will be $99. Now, Ivanka Trump's jewelry line has a problem. One of its contractors isn't paying its taxes. USA Today says the company that licenses the brand owes more than $5,000 in sales tax to New York. Abigail Clem, president of Ivanka Trump Brand, says Ivanka Trump has no responsibility for the tax debt. It involves an independent licensee. The Dow up 32 yesterday to a record. NASDAQ down 5, S&P dropped 2. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Investments in securities involves the risk of loss. The following is a far too common tale of investing in annuities. A successful couple invested a large portion of their savings in annuities, thinking they were a safe way to guarantee a dependable income stream no matter what the market did. But it didn't take long for them to regret their decision. They were locked into low returns, faced potential tax consequences, and that they couldn't get out of their annuities without paying huge penalties. They were stuck, and so was their money. Suddenly, their retirement hopes and dreams were in danger. But it didn't have to happen to them, and it doesn't have to happen to you. You can avoid the annuity trap. Here's one way. Get the free report, Annuity Insights, your guide to better understanding annuities, by calling 1-800-396-3336. Written by Forbes columnist and money manager Ken Fisher's firm. This powerful report could help save you from major financial heartache, and it's offered today for free. If you have an annuity or are considering one, claim your free annuities guide today. Hurry, free copies are limited. Call now, 1-800-396-3336. 1-800-396-3336.
8:06. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In northwest Indiana, the ramp from both directions of 20 to southbound I-65. This is blocked right now due to a crash. Vehicles on flatbeds there. Edens Expressway inbound delay started Foster, 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy, now an hour and 11 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 38 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound 43 to O'Hare. Eisenhower, an hour and 19 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, an hour 4 from Manheim. Outbound 47 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 23 minutes. 3:55 to the drive. Outbound now 5. Ryan, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound slow 21 to 137 and approaching the O'Hare Oasis is heavy. Northbound delays Southwest Highway to 31st. The Reagan tollway to North Avenue and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Patchy fog for the morning, otherwise a mostly cloudy and breezy day today. Little rain late in the afternoon, high 50. Periods of rain and a thunderstorm tonight. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour in the evening. A low tonight of 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently, mostly sunny and 48. Next news at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers, the gift-giving experts. Visit MJ Miller at 123 West Main Street in downtown Barrington.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Shame on you! No shame on you!
I think some people are clearly upset, but there is a bit of professional protester manufactured base in there.
My prediction is he keeps up on this path, which is likely. I don't think he'll change. Within 3-4 months, you're going to see a whole lot of Republicans breaking with him.
I hope so. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah. In the next 48 hours, Project Veritas, like WikiLeaks, will be releasing hundreds of hours of tape from within the establishment media. Our next target is, in fact, the media.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So Anthony Ciani, listener to our show, a physics professor at U of I.
Show off.
He penned a piece, exactly. Penned a piece. He's incurring into our space. He penned a piece for the American Thinker And I like what he's done there. You heard a little bit of snippets about the town halls taking place, and more to come. The tier party. First we had the tea party.
Right.
Now we've got the tier party. Now, I was a little dense earlier in the show. I referred to it as the tear party.
Right, you did.
I was mispronouncing it.
It's the tier because they're crying.
Yes.
And they're still crying.
And tea party stood for taxed enough already.
Yeah, taxed enough already is the tea party.
And the tier party is tantrum at every Republican action. And I think the honorary head of the newly found tier party is none other than No Justice, No Peace Maxine, she of California, the Democratic Congresswoman. And it's incredible to me that MSNBC and CNN want to keep putting her on as a spokesman for the quote-unquote resistance or the tier party.
They don't have anybody else.
Well, I mean,
who's on the bench?
They better find somebody because I'm not sure that Maxine Waters
is up for the job.
I don't think she's moving a lot of public opinion. Here's Maxine Waters talking about Trump and the Kremlin clan yesterday on MSNBC.
To try to defend this president who is entangled with this Kremlin clan of his while they are all seeking really to get rid of these sanctions that are, placed on Russia because all of them are connected to the oil and gas industry.
That's the cabal, and Maxine Waters, not exactly a Russian policy expert. The last time we visited No Justice, No Peace Maxine, she was complaining about Russia having invaded Korea.
Right.
Not Crimea.
Not Crimea.
Yeah. It's a bit of a difference. Maxine Waters also worried about the Trump-Kremlin clan helping to reconstitute the old Soviet Union.
Can't people see what's going on? Why do you think they hacked into our election? They hacked into the election because they have to make sure that Donald Trump got elected so that he could help them with what I think is a huge deal, not only to lift these sanctions, but to take over, all of these Soviet countries and pull them back into the Soviet Union so that they could have access to all of these resources. It's clear to me. And I just think the American people had better understand what's going on. This is a bunch of scumbags. That's what they are.
Those are very strong words,
organized around making money.
I tell you, I haven't heard a powerful speech about the dangers of totalitarian Soviets since, Winston Churchill. So from Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an Iron Curtain has descended across Maxine Waters' frontal lobe. For more on Russian policy, as well as the war on terror, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Paul Valle. He is a retired U.S. Army Major General. He's chairman for the Center for Security Policy, and he's the co-author of the book Endgame, the Blueprint for Victory in the War on Terror. General, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. The pronunciation is Galilee.
You know what? I did the same thing last time we had you on. I don't know. I've got a mental block. I think I'm listening to Maxine Waters too much.
That's okay.
3 syllables. Valle.
Valle.
Valle. Yes.
Valle. All right.
If you want me to do the pronunciations,
exactly.
you just let me know.
Well, General, as I'll call you, thanks so much.
Fine.
Thanks so much for joining us. What about Trump's national security team, particularly now with the addition of a new national security advisor and their posture towards Russia? What's your assessment of some of the furor surrounding the alleged relationships between some members of his security team, including the president himself, and Putin and their approach to Russia?
Well, when you compare the selections for the national security team, even General Mike Flynn, who I know very well, it's certainly a tremendous improvement over what we've had under the Obama administration. Much more professional, much more dedicated background to national security and military strategy. So I think General Mattis is a good pick. The new General McMaster's replacing Flynn certainly is a combat veteran, an armor officer, also an academic, does a lot of writing. And so I think you're going to see you are seeing a much stronger team because we're going to see a more robust military. And in regards to Russia, I'll be leaving for Moscow by the way, tomorrow to speak over there at the Val Valle conference, so we can talk a little about that if you'd like. Yeah. But this whole thing about Russia is a total myth. It's a diversion. It's made up. There's absolutely no proof. The Russians have distorted and affected, our past elections. I always ask people, when was the last time a Russian attacked an American soldier or armed forces? And they haven't. Yeah, they've buzzed us on the ships with their planes. Of course, we've done the same thing off of their coast with our ships. But this whole thing is just a made-up mythical type thing on the part of the tear jerkers or the tear babies.
So, General, do you think, it's prudent at this point for President Trump to press the reset button, so to speak, with Russia?
Well, here's what we're proposing. As a matter of fact, I'll propose it when I'm in Moscow at the Val Valle conference beginning on Monday, that I think the best step is to do a Reagan-Gorbachev type meeting in Reykjavik, Iceland. I think that needs to be done because we're not going to solve the problems in the Middle East and Syria, which is tangential to the refugee problem, unless we work with Russia. And we just have to come to that realization. They are the power over there. We've created vacuums all over the Middle East. And, of course, Russia has moved in as well as other countries. So I think the new Secretary of State, General Mattis, who have been overseas for the last week or two, some visits, I think Ellerson's now down in Mexico, that we're going to see a stronger border, more secure system to protect American people under this administration.
Your book is Endgame, The Blueprint for Victory in the War on Terror, is the latest offensive to recapture Mosul from ISIS and essentially try and reinstall, my sense of it, reinstall Iraqi governance of Iraq and prevent, for example, Shia militias from taking over that are potentially surrogates for the Iranians. Is that part of the blueprint for victory?
Well, of course, when we wrote that book, we were talking primarily about that area of Syria and North Korea and Iran. And so we haven't seen nothing but an expansion of what we said in 2004. But when you look at what's happening in Mosul right now, it looks like the Iraqi armed forces, with the assistance of the American forces, air power, as well as our special ops on the ground, as advisors, that we'll probably see Western Mosul taken down within the next week or two. Of course, now we're attacking, as well as the Russians, the headquarters of ISIS, which is in northern Syria, northeast Syria, called Raqqa. And so that will be the next strong point of ISIS that will be defeated.
Now yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the Syrian war has been going on 6 years now, and do you think eventually we should work with Russia to reconstruct Syria?
Yes, that's the point of my paper that I'm presenting at the Val Valle conference, called the Syrian Renaissance Plan. I think I may have sent a copy of it to you, but I'm not sure. But that basically shows how we establish secure zones. We get a new interim government in, replacing Assad, and we have individuals lined up to do that. And the Russians can make that happen. But basically, we start bringing back all these refugees in the secure areas, start having them trained for jobs, manufacturing reestablished, the oil fields reestablished over there. So it's a total 3-page paper. If I didn't send it to you, I'll be happy to, but it explains how we can rebuild Syria.
And you...
and I say we, it's got to be a lot of Arab money, not American money. I'm looking for Arab money over there.
That's
especially the Saudis and Qataris and others to put up the money to rebuild the country.
That's an important point. Also, you suggest that the first order of business is returning refugees who have been displaced and dispersed.
Correct.
And with the importance of that.
Yeah, and the other countries. I mean, look what's coming out of North Africa into Italy and up that route. So the refugee problem not only is Syria, but it's many of those countries over there where they're leaving, going up through Turkey, up to Serbia, Hungary, into Germany and Europe, and then that feeds over into the United States. So it's all tied together. So we've got to work to solve this refugee problem.
He is.
Many of these refugees, these young men, they're not trained. So there's got to be some training skill level schools put in the restoration zones over there in order to train these people for business and manufacturing, high tech. So there's a lot can be done.
He is retired U.S. Army Major General Paul Valle.
You got it right.
All right.
Hey, you got it.
Thank you. I can even an old dog can learn a new name. Chairman for the Center of Security Policy, General. Thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with your presentation in Russia. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sure, the mayor wants some cold weather here because yesterday, when it was unseasonably warm, we had the deadliest day of the year, 7 killed and 6 shot in Chicago on the south and west side. So today we have sunshine now, but we're going to have rain this afternoon, a high of 50 degrees. Tonight, a thunderstorm. And then tomorrow, Friday, variable cloudiness, a shower or heavy thunderstorm in spots, a high of 60 degrees. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. On the inbound Kennedy, it's really heavy from Harlem to the Burn Circle. It's an hour and 11 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 38 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound, 20 minutes to Montrose, 43 to the airport. Edens, 20 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound, 29, the Eisenhower. An hour and 23 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. An hour 10 from Mannheim. Really jammed from 25th Avenue on into the Loop. The outbound side is 48 minutes to Thorndale. There's a crash at 355 in the left lane. Stevenson, an hour and 23 minutes, 355 to the drive. It's fine outbound. The Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. On the Tri-State, southbound slow 21 to 137 and 190 to the O'Hare Oasis. Northbound, Southwest Highway to 31st. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. Lanes on the Adams Tollway from past Roselle to 53 and the Veterans Memorial jammed Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Fox News reporting that contributor Alan Combs has passed away at the age of 66, so that's sad news.
Britt Hume tweeted, "So sad to hear about the death of a Fox News colleague, Alan Combs. He and I agreed on little, but I liked him immensely."
Yeah,
good guy.
I rememve Hannity and Combs,
yep.
and that was fun. I mean, he was a
and
man.
Then their careers took two different directions.
Yeah, Combs was a man of the left, but we've talked to him before. I mean, I certainly had him on my previous employers. Nice enough guy. He's kind of like Juan Williams. You disagree on stuff, but it was always interesting to talk to him. So that's sad news. Rest in peace, Alan Combs. Running a business can be challenging, especially here in Illinois. You face mountains of regulations on top of taxes and fees, and more may be coming. Business owners who manage to survive and thrive deserve to be recognized, and that's exactly what we here at AM 560 are going to do. This spring, we're hitting the road, and have been, on our AM 560 business tour presented by Signature Bank. Yesterday, we were at Charles Power Energy Systems Equipment.
Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They're also mechanics. They're winemakers. They're just all around good guys. And they save lives because they provide generators to companies that need them, like hospitals.
And I miss Mike at Charles. Mike, if you're listening, please call me. I need that egg dish you made yesterday. And
no preservatives.
Yeah, let's go hunting. It's a way for us to celebrate local businesses who are overcoming the odds and succeeding in spite of the many challenges they face. Think of it as making businesses great again. We want to give back to the business community by broadcasting our show from locations throughout Chicagoland. Does your business have a great success story? If so, we want to hear about it. Go to 560theanswer.com/business. Fill out the brief form to tell us about how you and your business are beating the odds to serve your clients and your community. We'll select several more businesses as stops on our AM 560 business tour, and we'll broadcast from your location to share your success with our audience. Go to 560theanswer.com/business to tell us your story. That's 560theanswer.com/business. And we may be stopping at your location this spring on our AM 560 business tour sponsored by Signature Bank.
There's bound to be a good reason when a local startup company becomes an industry leader in only 5 years. Chicago Cut Concrete Cutting achieved this success by offering highly skilled professional services at highly competitive prices. Business owners, project managers, field supervisors, and procurement managers from many of Chicagoland's top companies depend on Chicago Cut Concrete Cutting. They specialize in industrial, heavy highway, and commercial projects requiring concrete cutting, core drilling, as well as wall, slab, chain, wire, and ring sawing. Chicago Cut Concrete Cutting will complete your project on time and on budget. Demolition and sealing services such as silicone and hot tar are also available. For an estimate or questions about your project needs, call Chicago Cut Concrete Cutting, the cutting edge in concrete cutting today at 773-282-2CUT. That's 773-282-2288. Or visit ChicagoCutConcreteCutting.com.
Hey, are you thinking about the IRS right now? Man, if the IRS is coming after you, your problem, your IRS problem is there day and night. You need help to fight the IRS. I recommend you call my very good friend, Attorney Stephen Leahy of Open Tax Resolutions. Hey, he's got a special offer going on right now. If you're not certain about your position with the IRS, he will pull your personal IRS transcripts and find out exactly where you stand for free. Find out where you stand. If you owe back taxes, if you have unfiled returns. Hey, if you're afraid of the IRS, call my friend Steve Leahy now. 312-664-6649. Steve's the host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard every Sunday at 5 right here on AM 560. He's also a really good friend of mine, and I don't know of anybody better in dealing with the IRS. Call him now. Steve Leahy, 312-664-6649. That's 312-664-6649.
AM 560.
The Answer.
All right, so there's a city in California has decided to take a vote last night. It was a unanimous decision to impeach Donald Trump.
All right, well, he had a good run.
Yeah, he had a good
sorry,
run.
Mr. President. Scramble Marine 1, you're out of here. Was this from the Oak Park model ordinance they passed?
Well, they could be coming to a town near, but this is Richmond, California. It's near San Francisco, and here's the city council member who's trying to hold back tears.
This is our voice. This is our country. We have a right to speak up.
Okay, but they have no power. It's the Richmond City Council, and there was one Trump supporter who, by the way, eventually got kicked out of the meeting for shouting profanities at the city council members, but he did get to speak at the lectern before he got kicked out.
Actually, you don't have a voice because the GOP controls Congress. And you people are stupid enough, you think you're going to have Congress impeached Trump?
You people are stupid. You think that you have the power here to impeach Donald Trump?
I don't know if that is necessarily a Trump supporter. He's just somebody that understands the limitations of the power of the Richmond, California City Council. Boy.
So let me introduce you to Gail. She's one of the council members who spearheaded the resolution, and she was inspired by none other than Bernie Sanders.
As grassroots, as Bernie said, we have to start from the grassroots.
Yeah.
As Bernie, because Bernie said we have to stop it.
Yeah.
So that they're hoping this resolution that
sweeps the nation.
Sweeps the nation.
I would introduce a counter resolution where I in Richmond, California City Council to immediately abscond to one of the 7 planets that NASA discovered 37,000 light years away, or 40,000 light years away, which is like 37,000 per light year, 1.5 million years away, and just relocate there.
Right. Well, they think, they passed this resolution because of Trump's business holdings. They think that's the reason why he should be impeached. And also, Keith Ellison, who's vying to be the DNC spokesperson, the chairman of the DNC.
Yeah.
He said the same thing last night. They had this debate on CNN where they tried to decide. Well, it was 8 people, 9 members who want to be in charge of the Democratic Party. And
who hates white people more? Go.
I think that Donald Trump has already done a number of things which legitimately raised the question of impeachment.
Yeah.
I mean, on day one, he was... On day one,
City Council?
He was in violation of the Emoluments Clause. This is a part of the Constitution that says, as the president, you can't get payments from a foreign power. The day people checked into his hotel and started paying him, who were foreign dignitaries, he was in violation of that law. There's already a lawsuit filed against him. And right now, it's not about only Donald Trump. It is about the integrity of the presidency.
Okay. So it's basically between him and this guy, Perez.
The former labor secretary for President Obama, Tom Perez, who is about as exciting as an oil painting. I'll tell you what, Keith Ellison, if the DNC thing doesn't work out, maybe he can run for mayor of Richmond, California.
You've made the switch. and it feels so good. You switch to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. Now there's finally a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, and if you're one of the first 100 callers, you can try Transcend risk-free for 10 days. So call now, 1-800-400-9121. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. To guarantee your 10-day in-home trial, you must be one of the first 100 callers to call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-9121. Again, that's 1-800-400-9121.
I love the Bernie Sanders thing, too. I mean, Bernie Sanders was just lauding the Venezuelan model of governance 5 minutes ago in terms of Richmond. I got a text, double check that Alan Combs death. I mean, Fox News tweeted it in addition to...
Brent Hume and Shannon Brain.
Members of the Fox News staff there. So we're going based on what Fox News is reporting. I think they'd know.
But if something happens, we'll let you know. Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending over there at Pearl Mortgage. A borrower called David after contacting another lender who boasts about having low rates and closing costs because he thought David's competitors' closing costs were excessively high. Now, the interest rate on David's and his competitors' loan estimates were identical, but David and his competitors' definition of low closing costs were drastically different. Turns out David's closing costs were $1,000 less than the lender claiming to have the lowest closing costs. So when purchasing a home, you can either work with a lender who talks about low closing costs, or you can call David, a lender who actually has low closing costs. Then think of all the things you could do with an extra $1,000 when David's team originates your loan. So call him now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or visit him at am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
She was born and raised a devout Muslim who converted to Christianity and wrote a book about it. Noni Darwish joins us at 8:38 to discuss.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
48 degrees, partly sunny skies, and someone in Lafayette, Indiana is holding a golden ticket. Tickets sold there matched all 5 numbers in last night's Powerball drawing, winning $435 million. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly meet today with top Mexican officials, including President Nieto. Backed by U.S.-led coalitions, Iraqi forces have fought their way into a sprawling military base and air base just south of Mosul and onto the grounds of the city's airport as well. LGBT advocates are denouncing, while conservatives are praising the Trump administration's decision to lift Obama-era federal guidelines concerning transgendered students and school bathrooms. This morning, Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette says the alleged sexual assaults carried out by former Michigan State University and Olympic gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar could be the largest serial sexual assault case in that state's history and perhaps in the nation. Schuette announced 22 new charges against Nassar yesterday.
This guy is disgusting. This guy is despicable. He is a monster.
Nassar is now charged with 80 sexual assaults dating back 20 years. He worked for USA Gymnastics treating Olympic athletes. People who work for state government represented by the union AFSCME will know in a few hours if a strike is likely, about 10:30 this morning. Chicago police are investigating a deadly 2-vehicle crash on the west side near Lake and Central Park Avenue. And an investigation by state police is underway after 2 vehicles were struck by gunfire along I-57 near Calumet Park. No one was hurt. And the spacecraft that first carry men to the moon is counting down for a launch to a road trip. Command module for the Apollo 11 mission will be on display at 4 museums around the U.S. over the next 2 years, winding up in Seattle to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the July 1969 flight that put Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. The tour begins at the Houston Space Center this coming October to March of next year, then on to St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and then again Seattle in 2019. The news, a service of Advance Auto Parts. Need a part? Order the parts you need online at Advance Auto Parts. Pick them up in-store in just 30 minutes so you can get back to the garage doing what you love. Order online at advanceautoparts.com. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes this is just the beginning of the bashing from the left.
They're in a full-fledged attack. It is nonstop, and it's going to get way worse before it gets better. Are you ready for it, or are you afraid people are going to start throwing in the towel? They're going to try to beat him and beat his agenda by wearing us down. We're going to be subjected to this crap day in and day out.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Galaxy's free sale. Free installation, free design, and free financing.
773-783-8300. Call Galaxy.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chris Veldman of ServiceMaster DSI, the largest ServiceMaster franchise in the United States and a customer of Signature Bank. In our business, we respond to disaster, and we never know when disaster will strike, whether it's flooding in Louisiana or a house fire in Chicago. Not all banks understand that need for flexibility, but Signature Bank does. That's why we consider them so much more than a bank. They have been our business partner since 2006, when their three co-founders, Mick, Kevin, and Brian, started the bank. Signature Bank is a key part of our growth strategy at ServiceMaster DSI.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
8:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delay started Foster. It's 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy jammed Harlem to downtown. It's an hour and 11 minutes from O'Hare to the Burn Circle. 39 minutes from Montrose, 30 in the Express, outbound 37 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's an hour and 25 minutes. Thorndale to the Post Office, an hour 10 from Manheim, outbound 40 minutes to Thorndale. Inbound Stevenson, an hour and 17 minutes, 3:55 to the Drive, outbound delay free. The Rhine, 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford bottled up Sibley to the Steel Bridge with a crash on the right shoulder, and it's 29 minutes, 80-94 to Bryan. Tri-State southbound slow 190 to the O'Hare Oasis. The northbound delays are from around Southwest Highway to 31st, Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral, Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler. Rain begins later this afternoon and a high near 50. Rain and maybe a thunderstorm overnight, low 41. Currently 47. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, this presents a very interesting story. She was born and raised a devout Muslim in Cairo in Gaza, the daughter of an Islamic martyr. Noni Darwish had Islamic values ingrained into her from a very young age. She learned what every child of a devout Muslim was taught. Non-believers must be wiped out and Western civilization must be destroyed. She ultimately converted to Christianity, immigrated to the United States, and has now written a book, Wholly Different, Why I Choose Biblical Values Over Islamic Values. And we're pleased now to be joined by Noni Darwish. Ms. Darwish, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Dan. Thank you.
So, I've just kind of quickly encapsulated your story, but it sounds like it's a lot more dramatic than I made it seem. So why don't you tell us about your upbringing and then your coming to America and your conversion to Christianity? Tell us your conversion story.
Well, I lived for 30 years in Cairo, Egypt. I grew up in the Gaza Strip, and really the heart of the Arab-Israeli conflict. And I lost my father to the jihad against Israel. And I moved to the United States at age 30. And I noticed that when I moved to America, I still considered myself a Muslim. I went to the mosque here in the early 80s, and I was told, don't assimilate in America. And that was so hard because not assimilating, believe it or not, takes more effort than assimilating. And I was shunned by the Islamic community for assimilating. So I started noticing that a lot of the values in the new society I'm living in are very different from what I learned in the Middle East. For instance, simple things like standing in line to take your turn, because over there people just step on each other to get what they want, So, for instance, in the churches they say we're all sinners. In Islam, they are all sinners. Non-Muslims are all sinners. Jesus came to save us. In Islam, we have to save Allah and Muhammad's reputation by killing anybody who offends them or criticizes them or write a cartoon about them. Jesus died for us, and versus in Islam, we must die for Allah. We must die in the process of killing the enemies of Allah. Confession of sin is a biblical value versus concealment of sin in Islamic value. Actually, there is immunity from sin even to Muhammad, and even some sheikhs are immune from sin. Changing oneself is a biblical value. Self-control is a biblical value. But changing others, controlling others, is an Islamic value.
So,
yeah.
Noni, so I know some peaceful Muslims that are living here. They go to school with our kids. Do you think that they're secretly want us dead? Is that what the Quran says, convert or die?
I am not talking about people here, because there's good and bad in every culture, absolutely. And I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the values, the criteria, the measurement that Islamic books give for Muslims to follow. That is very different from my family in Egypt are still in Egypt. Of course, they don't talk to me anymore, but they're some of the nicest people you ever meet. So it's not people. I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about if you open the Islamic books, that's what you read. That's the criteria.
So
vengeance is mine. That's the biblical value. In Islam, in the Quran, this is the quote. Vengeance is prescribed for Muslims.
So when you hear politicians in this country, for example, say that Islam is a religion of peace and we have to separate the religion from the radical Islamists, how do you react to those statements?
Well, there are many imams in Islam who disagree with the idea that Islam is a religion of peace. And they specifically say to the West that we want to be in permanent war with you. So while the Bible is a covenant of peace, Islam in the books is a covenant of war. The concept of jihad, and I will quote you from Islamic books, the concept of jihad is, the definition is to war with non-Muslims to establish the religion. And they teach it in Al-Azhar University as a permanent war institution with Jews, Christians, and pagans.
So I didn't get the last piece of your story, your exposure to Christianity and thus your ultimate decision to convert to Christianity.
Yes, that took me many, many years. I was in America at the beginning. I thought, I wanted to be a Muslim, but, the community didn't want you to assimilate. That's the first thing we were told, don't assimilate in America. And because I assimilated, I was shunned. So this is the problem. Even the Muslim mayor of London, his name is Khan, when he came to America to visit a few months ago, last year, he said, don't assimilate in America, don't assimilate. He's telling Muslims not to assimilate.
But did you have somebody that introduced you to Christianity? I mean, obviously you understand it existed.
Well, when you live in America and you assimilate, you start having friends who are Christians, you start hearing sermons, and the first thing I heard that was so different was, we're all sinners. And I'm like, oh my God, in Islam, they tell us they are all sinners. We are Muslims. We don't talk about, we don't self-analyze. We don't check the sin in us. We check the sin in others.
But is there a passage in the Quran that says convert or die?
Yes, actually there are many. The Quran tells Muslims this is basic. This is basic education. And Muslims are supposed to not befriend even Jews and Christians, not befriend them, not just to convert them. Don't even make friendship unless you are a minority in a country. Then pretend you're friends as long as you.
Yep.
So this is all very, very different values.
Well, the word Islam, translated to English, means surrender or submission, doesn't it?
Exactly. And even the way we view God is different from viewing God in the Bible. God, we have to, God is died for us. In Islam, we must die for Allah.
So let me ask you this. Part of the argument that's been made in certain quarters is that we need to be careful about terminology because we don't want to engender the hatred or the mistrust of peaceful pluralist Muslims, not so much in America, which is where we always focus, or Western or Australia, but where the real action is, if you will, in North Africa to the Middle East to Central Asia. And I wonder what you say from somebody who spent the first 30 years of her life in Egypt and Gaza, what you say about the prospects for enlisting peaceful pluralist Muslims in those regions of the world such that we can really deal a death blow to the Islamic terrorist organizations like ISIS. How optimistic should we be about that possibility?
Well, the problem is that the West doesn't understand is the problem is a lot more than just ISIS and terrorism. The problem is the theology itself. The legal system is opposite to the legal system in the West. A sin is punished under Islam. And, for instance, leaving Islam is punished by death. So in the West, the religious sin is not the job of the government to enforce it. It's the job of the government, of the Islamic government, to punish religious sin, such as leaving Islam. So That's something the West should worry about.
She is Noni Darwish. She is the author of the book Wholly Different, Why I Chose Biblical Values Over Islamic Values. Gosh, I could talk to you about this topic for hours, but I appreciate your time, Ms. Darwish, and look forward to having you back on again. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Retirement talk for one Jay Cutler. Could it be? But first, your forecast. Plenty of sunshine right now, but some clouds and some rain moving in this afternoon. A high of 50 degrees. Tonight, a thunderstorm. And tomorrow, some cloud coverage, a shower, possible heavy thunderstorm. But warm again, a high of 60. Let's go into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's the one and only Jim Delamonte.
Well, thank you. The one and only Amy. And Dan, good morning. On the Edens inbound, just a little slow now. Foster to the junction, about a 2-minute delay. Outbound, it's slow. Foster to Skokie Road, that's about a 7-minute delay. Inbound Kennedy, it was bad enough already. Now there's a crash at Lawrence, center lane. Hour and 2 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 38 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound 35 to the airport. The Eisenhower's even worse. An hour and 25 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 40 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 21 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. Ryan, 32 minutes. 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 31 minutes. 8094 to the merge. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, stop and go Foster to North Avenue. Northbound Oakwood to 31st. Tri-State southbound, still 190, Irving Park, Joel, northbound, 95th to 31st, Reagan Toy to North Avenue, and the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, you want to have fun? You want to come hang out with me, Dan Proft, Joe Walsh? Then come with us to Punta Cana. And time is running out to book your trip. Slots are filling up fast. Good time to be had by all. So join us. Where are we going? Well, funny you should ask. We're going to the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. It's a brand new resort. Go online, check it out. It is gorgeous. And the price point that Apple has secured for us is incredible and exclusive only to us, but you have to book your trip soon. Do it today. Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com. Keyword passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport. Hurry up. Time is running out to secure this exclusive price from our good friends at Apple Vacations.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. There's a Christian genocide occurring in Iraq and Syria, but the left is preventing America from providing asylum for the persecuted. ISIS targets both the Shia and Sunni Muslims who refuse to join its terrorist ranks, but the left is preventing America from providing safe haven to peaceful, pluralist Muslims. Millions of Mexicans, Central Americans, Africans, and Asians desire to flee third world deprivation, but the left is preventing America from opening her doors to many more countrymen of immigrant American citizens. As Flannery O'Connor observed, the left governs by tenderness, which is to say without restraint. Only their feelings about their own goodness matter. This was on display with the left's Day Without Immigrants protest. No distinction was made between people who are in America illegally and people who are not. No distinction was made between people who are self-sufficient and people who game the welfare state. No distinction was made between the more than 100,000 criminal illegal aliens released by ICE in 2013 alone, which includes 193 convicted murderers, and children brought here illegally by their parents. Leftist xenophobia, the fear of distinguishing between people who come in peace and predators, is killing both people and the promise of America the world over.
AM 560, The Answer.
So yesterday we talked a little bit about Drew Peterson and how he's transported from Illinois State Prison to a federal prison. And I had mentioned yesterday, because you asked me, well, what what do I think happened?
Well, yeah, you're our Drew Peterson correspondent.
Exactly, because I have a lot of sources that are in touch with that camp. And I mentioned yesterday that he was probably moved for health reasons, not the cause. The place where he was sent to in Terre Haute, Indiana, does not have a medical unit there. Now, because if you're a federal prison and you needed medical attention, you'd be sent to a federal prison in North Carolina, the one that Jesse Jackson Jr. stayed at. Because there's a camp.
Buechner, North Carolina.
Yeah, there's a camp, and then there's a maximum security. They're next to each other. And at that place, that's where they have a medical facility.
You're quite the penologist, aren't you?
A Oh, yes. Yeah, that's funny. But, because so many people came up to me yesterday and asked me about it and said, well, really, what's your theory on that? And I can't really explain my entire theory, but I did make some phone calls. And, the jail plot might be a real viable
No, that's not my
explanation.
theory. That he was trying to break out. That's your theory. My escape from Alcatraz, no. My theory is that Terre Haute, and I don't know this, but that the federal prison in Terre Haute has a wing for multiple wife killers.
No, I love what somebody tweeted in the show. He fled Illinois just like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Lower property taxes in Terre Haute. So what's your theory?
Well, now I'm thinking that it was a safety issue.
Safety from who?
Somebody who was trying to kill him in the prison.
One of the women he didn't kill that he came in contact with during his life?
No, that's a possibility because that's a whole different world. Prison, that's a whole different, it's a city. I mean, look at Menard, Illinois. That town wouldn't be there if it was not for the prison. There's more people that live in the prison that live in the community.
So what is the safety issue with Drew Peterson?
It's a possibility that somebody had a hit out on him. Another inmate wanted him dead.
For what?
I don't know, because then they'd gain notoriety if they killed him. So is a safety issue, or there might be something to that escape plot.
Give me a break. Okay, Drew, enough.
Okay.
Get back in the cage. Stop kidding around. Your escape.
I mean, wouldn't that be the craziest thing? Because the story's already crazy as it is. And if that were the case, but we'll find out. Hopefully, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that you're chomping at the bit.
Grow eyes in the back of your head in the yard, Drew.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't go to bed another night worrying about unfiled tax returns or the letter